Yo, what up? This is Max. You're listening to Streaming Cassettes on Wingman of the Year. You might notice it's just this little mug right here. RJ's usually to the right, but he's out of town. But I'm holding down the mic, and I'm pumped because I got some boys right here to my left, and I'll just kind of go down the line, and we're going to just talk about them. All right, to the far left, we have Lagoon. In the middle, we have King Konye. And to the right, we got my boy Skinz. How you guys doing tonight?
Yo, what up,
What's up? Welcome to Streaming Cassettes. Appreciate the opportunity, first off. I know this is kind of like a mutual, our buddy Hunter, his sister knew you, King. So I think that's how this whole connection worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we appreciate it as well. Like, we appreciate everything you're doing, having us.
Oh, of course. No, we love having different genres and stuff. And I was telling you before we recorded, I've always kind of been a fan of rap from the jump, like I was 8, 9. And so for me, I love this kind of stuff. Like I like kind of breaking down verses and bars. So it'd be great to kind of talk about your styles and presentation. So yeah, how about we do like a little background? So obviously you guys are definitely close, right? How long have you guys known each other for?
Okay. So
not even that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like kind of barely.
I've known Skinz for what is that, a year and a half now?
It's been like a year.
Tell him where you started pulling up, bro.
So the way I ended up meeting King Konye is we actually went to the same college back in the day, and we were just going around, and I was actually skateboarding around. And one day he's like, "Hey, yo, man, you got a skateboard?" I was like, "Yeah." You know, I like to whip around and do my thing. I kind of came from like a lot of punk culture, so that's a big part. And then I was like, "Yeah, do you skate?" He's like, "Yeah, I skate. I make music." I was like, "Wait, hold up. You make music?" And then he's like, "Yeah, bro, we be rapping all the time." I was like, "All right, say less." And then we came by, and I was like, "All right, could you freestyle?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I could." And then I showed up, and it was like somebody that could actually freestyle. It's like you don't find that very much. So I was like, "Yo, this is fire. Let's start doing things." And then before you know it, we started hitting the studio. We found a new studio. We went through like 3 different studios. And man, we started making music. That's really how we met. And I met Love Lagoon at the same exact time.
Yeah, he pulled up to the to my dorm, and I remember, it's actually a crazy story how me and King Konye met. So King Konye actually went to a different college, right? And in that college, he met my brother. Like he didn't even know me. He met my brother, and then he transferred out, moved to a different college. And then one day, like my brother pulls up for that family weekend thing that they always have, like at every college. And he pulls up and he's like, "Yo, it's the dude with the blue hair." Because he's just driving by, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's King Konye." And he's like, "King Konye? That dude used to go to my school." So I pull up to him because he's actually my next door neighbor, and I'm in my dorm, and right next door is him. So I'm like, "Yo, you know Matt?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know Matt." And I'm like, "Yo, that's my fucking brother."
Yo.
And so like it's crazy. This dude actually ended up being my next door neighbor, right? It shit was crazy.
It's just crazy. I remember his brother texted me. I'm in the street. I'm like, Matt. I'm like, what? How'd you know I was here? I'm
just
like,
drove by, yo.
Bro, that was so wild.
Came by, showed us some music. We showed him some music, and it was instant vibes right there. We knew it was like we meant to be friends, yo.
Dude, that's sick. I feel like the best collabs or like the best friendships just happen where it's like a mix of like happenstance and then just like it's meant to be. You know what I mean? Like it's like you guys have like this small world complex, but also it's like, yo, I can fucking help you. You can fucking help me. I don't know. I just feel like whenever that happens is a recipe for success, honestly.
Yeah,
of course,
you know?
Yo, my bad,
Yo,
bro.
there's a personality dynamic too.
I was just saying, bro, anytime someone comes by and asks me if they want to freestyle, you're my best friend for like we're already good. I got you, bro. If something goes down, I'm there. That's all you had to say. Like we cool with that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, okay, so now you did some college leaking. So if you don't mind me asking, where are these schools at? Where are you linking up?
Harvard College, Oneonta, New York.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oneonta.
Oneonta.
I had to shout out the 607.
The 607.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Oneonta State. Yep. I remember that from back in the day. So you guys are all based in like the 518 area, right? Like Albany, right?
I think no, actually,
he's in the 518, and me and him are in the
845.
Yes, sir.
845.
Okay, a little south. Nice.
Welcome to the great 4-5.
Dude, that's dope. Yeah, I grew up. I was born in Glens Falls. We have a lot of guys in the network over there. Went to high school in Hoosick Falls, so definitely understand that area. I mean, I'm in the land of woodchucks now here in Vermont, but definitely upstate love, no doubt. So obviously the connection you guys kind of being together is a little newer, but it sounds like from the background talking to you, music's been your passion for quite a while. For each of you, how long have you guys been into music? What inspired you in the first place? You know, give me kind of that breakdown.
Okay, so for me, I didn't start recording until about 3 years ago. That's when I started making like actual rap. But I've been writing songs on my guitar since I was about 10 years old. I just asked for a guitar for Christmas because I saw Green Day perform Times Square New Year's Eve, and I saw the blue lights. And at the time, I was just like, "Yo, that has to be me."
Ooh,
so I guess it turned into that. Yeah.
Lagoon?
Yeah. So when I was like 12 or 13, I started just like I wanted to create things, you know. So I went onto these websites where you could take loops and just stack them together. And at first I started making beats. And then I remember my brothers, since we were all freestyling, when I turned like 14, he was like, "Yo, you should start making beats so we don't have to pay for beats. 1, 2, we can make our own beats and rap over them." So at 14, I downloaded FL Studio and I started, you know, chefing it up a little bit. And then I remember it was like maybe 2016 when I started listening to this band called Tame Impala. It's one dude. And it's pretty crazy because like that really inspired me, the way that he's playing all these instruments. Yeah, I'm actually wearing the Tame Impala shirt right now.
I love it. Dude, fuck, that's
yeah. So I was what's it called? I was listening to his music and I was like really inspired by the fact that it was one guy playing all these instruments and getting this like unique sound. So I was like, you know, I want to put my head into something where I can get this really unique sound. And sure enough, love Lagoon.
I'll get to obviously with your music, but that makes a lot of sense when I was listening to your tracks, man. Yeah. And then what about for you, Skinz?
So I started at a real young age because I was just growing up. I always grew up with people a lot older than me, probably like 10 years or so. So when I was probably like 6, 7 years old, I was hanging out with people that were like 15, and like that's a really weird age gap to be around. But I was raised in a lot of rap culture, a lot of like hip hop, things like that. And at a certain point, I saw a lot of people freestyling and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I want to start freestyling. So at around like, I want to say it was like 6 or 7, I had to have been. I was real freaking young. I was a kid. We started freestyling, and by all means, I must have been terrible. But like, I was doing it. And then at 8 years old, I started writing shit down on paper, and I still got my first song I ever wrote. It didn't even have a chorus. This shit is really not bad lyrically, but like the whole flow and everything just doesn't make sense. And it's just crazy. So like since 8 years old, I was just doing freestyles. That's when I got my first song. And I started just doing a lot of rap battles and stuff. I started doing that throughout the community, going to different towns, doing a lot of stuff in the battle rap community. Never lost 15-0. Let me hold that real quick. I'm saying, okay, bless up. But and then it only a few years ago is when I actually started like recording music, because I really just like the competitive aspect of it. And then I started realizing that there's more to it. So I started making music. Right within the past 3 years, I started actually releasing things. So,
wow, okay, I fuck with that. That's sick. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just said bless up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. No, I know you gotta love the lag. You know, I obviously the trip up. So okay. So before I kind of dive into your sounds and different questions that way, because obviously being in rap and liking it myself, you obviously look up to different artists. Now, it doesn't mean that necessarily is your style, but maybe people that you like admire their craft, their talent. Is there any specific artists, even in genre or out of hip hop, that you really like? You were talking about Tame Impala, Lagoon, but what's some other ones for you guys that really you've looked up to over the years?
Well, I really got into the Beatles recently, and also Jimi Hendrix, the way he plays guitar, because I be playing guitar. And like the way that Jimi Hendrix is able to make himself like speak, scream, cry, feel emotion through his guitar, that inspires me, because I heard it. And when I heard it for the first time, I was actually listening to him playing the national anthem. And I realized that he was playing like bombs dropping onto these, like he was trying to emulate the sound of war on his guitar. And I was like, how the hell does somebody do something like that? And how the hell can I do something like that? You know? Or also Pink Floyd. My fault.
No, bro. I just wanted to touch on that before you go to the next one. That was crazy about Jimi Hendrix. Yeah. He doesn't know chords or tab. He can't read tabs or chords. He just played guitar.
That is crazy.
He's the best guitar player in the world and doesn't know how to read it. That shit's
Yeah,
nuts.
so
Just
He's
like,
the
shit, I
best.
don't even know how to read that, yo.
No, they have a stereotype about guitarists with that. They say guitarists are the least likely to be classically trained because that's an instrument, you pick it up, you feel it, you just move it.
Yeah, like you hand me sheet music and it's like, nah. But anyway, another artist I've been listening to heavy was Pink Floyd, mainly because how their sound is like, it's changed from a lot of like mischievous psychedelic like rock, just anywhere in general, to a very focused sound, very tight. And like the production aspect of it, the way that they're able to create such different soundscapes and put them all into one song, that's the kind of shit that I'm trying to go for, you know? Always have the listener on their toes. So.
Completely.
Yeah. What about y'all?
King.
All right. For me,
King.
so a lot of my influences are still hip hop, but I'm gonna start with those first. Rod Wave.
Oh yes.
100%. I'm always listening to Rod Wave. I know these niggas know that's true. A Boogie, shout out New York. I love obviously melodic rappers. Roddy Ricch, I love when they can like really have bars in there, even if melody is like the main feature of the music, and some outside of hip hop ones. So I was really, really big into the emo music when I was growing up. So, Escape the Fate, only when Ronnie Radke was in it. And actually Pierce the Veil. And the reason is because Ronnie Radke and Vic Fuentes, their voices are like, they're higher and they so passionately sing what they're trying to replicate. So what I noticed about that genre of music, before that, like, my dad would only have me kind of listening to classical music. So I sort of grew up listening to that. I didn't really have like my own stuff that I would just listen to. It was the first time I heard someone accurately like represent even like the darker emotions that they had inside of them, more sad stuff a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. Wow. That's amazing. I almost kind of feel bad that RJ's not here because he's in a lot of like the punk stuff and different. So a lot of those bands, he said he would probably be like, like mentally just jizzing off happy, which is great. So
100%. I hope he knows the band Real Friends. They're not as popular, but they're my favorite.
I'm gonna have to ask him now. So now I have to. So this is sick. I love this.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And then as for me, I have a pretty expansive background when it comes to music. I think the only two genres I don't listen to are country and opera because they're just bad. It's just bad music. It's for bad people that listen to bad music. All right, that's what it is. Oh, no, I'm just joking. Like I'm sure everybody can love what they love, and I'm all about the love in the place. But I did predominantly come from a lot of punk stuff and a lot of old school rap. Some of my biggest influences were obviously Biggie Smalls, fucking Notorious B.I.G. Come on, I was 8 years old spitting the 10 Crack Commandments, and then we're talking about like Nasty Nas. Come on, man. Nas is like one of the illest rappers of all time, and he had the best album ever made of all time. So, like, those were two massive inspirations. But I think my biggest inspirations in the rap world are, I hate to be the guy to say it, but Eminem's just so fucking good. It's insane. He's just really talented, but he's not my favorite. Because my favorite at the end of the day is Jermaine Cole. J. Cole, he is the GOAT. You already know. Some of that Dreamville. I'm gonna be the first kid from the 845 signed to Dreamville. I'm holding you to that. You could hold this on the show, and this is gonna be big one day because this is when I said it. But I'm gonna get.
I'm here for it.
What's gonna happen? And J. Cole, I think, is one of the most talented artists in the industry because of his flow, his rhyme scheme, his structure, everything he does, and he's talking about real shit. But he can also just make hype shit. And like he's got so many things that really hit different. I'm actually getting a tattoo in the next few weeks of one of his songs, "Love Yours." That's one of his popular ones, but he's such a big influence on my work. I think him, and then the last one I wanted to note in this was Juice WRLD, actually a newer artist. I think Juice WRLD really exploded on the scene, and he does what I like to do in music, and that's to add a vulnerability in a sense of like, kind of like something that everybody can relate to because everybody's been there, but most people don't want to go past their ego or their manliness to act like they felt that way. But at the end of the day, when you're sitting in your car at nighttime, that's the kind of thing you can relate to. Yeah. So I really like that. And outside of rap, a lot of punk rock. Ronnie Radke's Falling in Reverse, not Escape the Fate too, but Falling in Reverse. I'm trying to be the Ronnie Radke of rap type shit. Them, Blink 182, Heavy. I love them a lot. And then I'd say is one more thing is Cage the Elephant, which I think is my favorite band. Yeah. They're phenomenal. They're such talented artists.
You actually got me into Cage the Elephant.
They're so good.
I was listening
awesome trip music. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. No, their shit's dope. Actually my brother does like EDM. He's like EDM group and he does a lot of production and he lives out in New Mexico and Cage the Elephant was a headliner and they were on the bill like as one of the openers. So I was like, he told me how trippy the experience was. I'm like, dude, that's a sick.
I wouldn't doubt it in the slightest.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a good lineup. It was Cage, and then actually the second lineup before he popped off was Quinn 92, which is like,
oh wow.
Yeah, you met him backstage. It was pretty sick. Yeah.
He's a nice dude.
Yeah, Quinn was mad nice. Yeah, took selfie, chill.
That's cool. That's
yeah.
dope.
It's always nice to see when their artists are chill like that, you know?
Yeah, sometimes they're so stuck up and it's just like, why are you like this? How are you an artist but you don't? It's crazy.
You don't respect the art. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you know.
It's funny, but no, dude, I love all the answers. The Dreamville makes sense. I love it. You know, first things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. You know?
Yes, sir. Only father that I ever knew. I'm gonna get my bitch back now. I'm gonna be up out of you. Hey, okay.
Dude, I go off on that. I mean, there's so much in this. I love Power Trip. I mean, I love KOD's a good one. Middle Child.
KOD was the best album. Best album ever, and I stand by that. I don't care who says 2014. It's KOD, and you're just tripping if you say otherwise. But either way, continue.
I like it. And I love the confidence. I honestly do. This is great. So,
I get hyped over J. Cole. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, that's a great way to go. If you're gonna aspire, fucking go to the top.
Yes, sir. That's what it's about.
Yeah. And of course, big. That's why I was like, I'm wearing the Nets track jacket. Gotta do it for Brooklyn, you know?
Yeah, we're from, man, like I said, being from New York, he was such a big representation for it.
Yeah.
And of course Pac, but like Big was more for where I'm from.
Exactly. He's for us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So let's kind of dive in. Obviously, there's three of you and you have different varieties of like your sound and stuff. So I want to try to tackle it all. I'll start with you, King Konye, first. So I was checking out your music, obviously, trying to get a wide sense of things. And I was really vibing with your latest album, People Change. And so some of the tracks that I kind of felt on there, you know, obviously a lot of it was good, right? But like ones I wrote down the notes for, it was like Numb. I like that. Little Angel, Nevermind, Chemistry. Really cool sound with those. And so with that, what's kind of the story behind that album as a whole?
Okay, the story behind it is like as real as it gets. It's about me recognizing changes that I wanted to make just as a human being in my personal life and being scared to make those changes, both because, you know, sometimes, you know, there's other people in your outer world telling you, oh, you got to be this way, you got to be that way, just as an artist, and just internal things where I'm like, oh, but if I change this, what will this look like in my music? Will I still be trying to get across what I want to get across? And it's crazy. First of all, these dudes were a huge part of this because they were around this entire time that I was recording this album. I was always talking about, yo, like I'm going to go through this direction. It was all about kind of breaking through and having the confidence to fully like be myself and my audience again. Because like, so what a lot of people don't know is before like my music started getting like fans and stuff like that, like I used to make kind of darker music. It was very, very personal, but I was originally like, it was easier to be like that when like I guess no one was listening because I was just a dude making music in my room or whatever. But all of a sudden I started hearing all these opinions. People said, oh, we like this was positive, this was hype, this was boom. And I'm like, yo, like that's dope. That was me on that day. So I just kind of like stuck with that for the longest time. But then I was like, no, like when it came to People Change, I said, I want to be real. I want to let my like heart out and, you know, pour my soul essentially into what I do. So like a song like Numb, because this one's my favorite, how it was created. It literally came down to like, I knew I was going to do a song with Skywalker Da Vinci. That day I was like, okay, I'm going to, you know, try to lay something down. That's what I'm going to send to him. But like, at first, like I wasn't kind of feeling it or whatever. So I ended up leaving the studio, like chatting with one of my friends and stuff like that. There was other people who were visiting, sitting in the booth, whatever. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, like my vibe completely like changed. I guess like I just got hit with like this certain emotion. It was a very, very dark emotion. And it was like, you know, like it was the first time that I kind of like, I really felt something like that. So I was like, what is this? And my friend that I was sitting with goes, Konye, your vibe completely changed. And like, they recognize it because there's a noticeable difference, you know? So I'm just like, oh, damn, like, yeah, I don't know where that really came from. So I ended up walking to the studio, maybe like an hour later, I'm still feeling kind of down. And it's like, when I get into the studio, I decided I was going to portray that emotion. But what's weird is when I started recording, I felt like that emotion wasn't coming through. And I was like getting frustrated the whole time. I was like, oh no, this isn't working. So I invited some of my boys to come in and listen. And I did like the whole sound test. All of a sudden it was like listening to a different artist. I'm like, oh my God, like this is exactly the emotion that I needed it to be. It felt like once I like made the commitment that I was going to create that, like I subconsciously went through whatever the steps were to create exactly what I wanted to make. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. You can definitely tell like there's like a lot of personal touch into the songs that you did. And it's interesting you say kind of the darker sound was, I felt like it was kind of like not so much dark, but there's like this like the vulnerability, like you were just talking about Skinz. Like I felt that like right when it hit that point, like, okay, there's like, you could tell like you have like, it was like probably 3 albums prior, it looked like, when I was going through your discography. Okay. So yeah, it's almost like this, not so much maturation in sound, but more maturation in like personal, like emotion and opening up. I don't know. I felt it. I just really did. So you telling me what was going on behind the scenes kind of adds up to how I felt when I listened to it.
I'm glad you felt that. I'm glad it resonated with you, because I had like this emotional and mental battle of like, should I put certain songs like out, like Broken Heart and Numb? Like I was nervous to show those to the world. Hold on, let me make sure.
No, you're good.
Fine. Pause for a little bit, but yeah, Broken Heart and Numb. I was nervous to show those to the world because I'm like, that's my heart, my emotions, my story in a song. Like I'm like, how are people gonna react? But at the end of the day, so that's literally what I do. So that's what we do.
For sure. And another thing I kind of touched on with your music, especially on the newer projects, was definitely a melodic approach. And I love that. You were talking about Roddy Ricch. You were talking about some of the other guys as well. What kind of inspired you to have that sound? Was it directly from like relating to these artists kind of as your own personal preference? Or was it kind of like you tinkered with things in the studio, like, oh yeah, this shit vibes? Or like, I like how this went.
What's crazy is like, it wasn't intentional at first when I was adding the melodic approach. So I listened to like a lot of, or not even a lot. Like honestly, I started out listening to like A Boogie, the first melodic rapper that I was listening to, but everything other than that was, you know what I mean? Just like kind of hype stuff, whatever was going on. What I noticed with my own music, oh shoot, because yo, my guys got that fixing the lighting. But what I noticed with my own music is that I just started, it would be days where I'd just be messing around in the studio telling myself, okay, whatever I'm going to make, I'm not going to put this out. Because when I say that line at first, that's when I give myself the opportunity to be as vulnerable as I want, to be as creative as I want. Because I'm a creative dude. Sometimes I like fear is like, oh, what if I just make something where it's just, you know, just whatever the fuck is going on in my head. So I was like, okay, let me give myself this freedom. And when I do that, I started to like mess at first just with auto-tune, but I was like, you know what, there's so much that I want to do through like melody and stuff like that, you know, sequence of melody that actually draws the emotion I wanted. Plus I'm a guitarist, so I was like, hey, I was making melodies on my guitar and I would just sing those back, make the lyrics that way, and it kind of turned into my music. When I turned around and looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like kind of what I like doing more.
I actually did the opposite. I'll be singing and then I'll like, oh, how can I transcribe that into guitar?
That's sick. That makes sense though. That's kind of how you came about with it, and just saying, you know what, if I feel like this is what's going to get my message conveyed, well, let me just fucking do it.
Bless.
Oh, facts. And so actually, since you kind of chimed in, Lagoon, I'm going to tackle some of your stuff and then go Skinz, and I have some questions for everyone as a group too. So yeah, so with I was listening through your stuff and I listened to obviously your latest single, The Lesson, and like you were talking about with your music preference, you almost kind of like made me semi-answer it in my head, but it was like an experience, dude. It was like, I loved it. And so there was a lot of cool elements. Obviously the track's like 7 minutes long. And I really think what's really interesting about that is nowadays with the way Spotify and other streaming apps are, kind of like if you're going over 2 minutes, 30 seconds, it's like, that's like revolutionary, which is really funny because songs used to be 4 or 5 minutes. So what, like, I guess let me break it down this way. What made you decide to do a project like that and say, I'm going to go like sicko mode on this, but psychedelic, and do like 5 different things?
Well, like when I listened back to some of the songs that I used to make, like before I started, you know, referring to myself as Love Lagoon, feeling like I'm Love Lagoon, like I feel like a short track, yeah, it's short and sweet, but sometimes like to get what you need to get out, it's like repetitive. And like when you have a longer song, you get to really flesh out what you're feeling, like every single emotion that you're feeling into one song. And of course that means different parts, but there's a way to put all those parts together because it's one emotion, like you're feeling one emotion, but it's different stages of that one emotion that's going to make you feel all those pieces. And so it's like when you listen back to it, if you listen back to a 3-minute track, it just sometimes to me, it just doesn't feel complete. Like I feel like the artist had more to say or more to make you feel, and they're just holding back on you. And with my music, I'm just trying to convey the entire experience in maybe one song, maybe 2 songs. And if they got to be long, you know, like sometimes I don't even look too much at the length itself, but rather how much of the vibe did I get out, and what's unnecessary. If it's too unnecessary, if it's too long, I gotta clip it. Like at first I think the lesson went up to maybe maybe about 7 minutes. And there's a song that I'm working on that originally I had like two verses in the beginning, and I actually just clipped an entire verse because I was like, not redundant. And the song itself is still 6 minutes, but sometimes there's some things that overstay their welcome, and it really depends on the image that you're trying to paint. Like if it's a messy image, but it looks cool to me, then so be it.
Right. No, I think that's great. And the breakdown at the end, I was like, oh my God, this is sick. It was like, okay, here's the 4th iteration of the track. It was cool just sitting there. I was out on my front porch, nice day, right? Kind of like getting some recon in, and I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I love this. And what's cool is another track that spoke to me. I was just pulling it up real quick just to remind myself. Can't Save Us, right? That was like a different concept, but I really liked the vibe on that one. What was kind of the story on that track too?
I remember it was actually a while ago. I think I was talking to this girl, and we were talking about like a potential what's it called, long distance relationship, and I realized that it wasn't going to work out. That's what the song's actually about. It's about a long distance relationship, and like I can't save us means like I can't like be the person that you want me to be, and I know that you're willing to be the person that you want to be, like the way you changed up and want to make up, like you're changing yourself up for me, but I can't do that for you because I'm not going to see who you are because I'm not there, like I won't be there. I can't save us. And with the vibe itself, I sometimes I like to paint the color with music. Sometimes I feel like there's a certain waviness to music that'll get out of vibe more than if you were to put just like an 808, like a hard screaming 808, and just some sample. I forgot the name of the program that people get all these samples from. The one that crashes every single producer's computer. Splice. No, it's not Splice. It's something. It starts with a V or something, but I can't remember the name. Mm-hmm. But yeah. It's all about like keeping a consistent vibe. I usually mix and record underneath these lights, these colored lights that just shine in my room. So usually whatever color is shining, maybe I'll get an emotion that just happens to work its way into the music. And I think I was recording under a lot of pink and purple lights during Can't Save Us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love the concept of the track. It was just really executed well. And that was another one on top of, the lesson I wanted to touch on for your stuff also.
Thank you very much.
Of course, dude. And so one thing I want to ask you, but I feel like based on talking to you guys beforehand and obviously now, that guitars, instrumentals, rock is obviously very much in your DNA as hip hop. So obviously for you, Lagoon, you're definitely shredding it. I watched the live concert that you and King did, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Dude, I saw Emmons' shit. I was reconning, don't you worry. And so, okay, so what was your influence? You mentioned Hendrix a little bit, but what's some of the influences for guitar for you? And then kind of how was that maturity process of like, all right, I'm just going to strum a couple strings to doing like these complexities of, elements on your song?
Honestly, when I first recorded the lesson, I immediately thought like, wow, I think I just did something similar to like the Grateful Dead in a way, even though I've only listened to like one of their songs. And when there's actually two versions of the lesson. There's the album version and the live version. And when I did the live version, I felt like, with that extended type of intro and the way that like the guitar is the first thing to start in, I was definitely looking towards like a Pink Floyd kind of thing. The way that like, you never know how the vibe is going to come in. Like you're listening to Pink Floyd and they set in one vibe and it's like, okay, this is cool. And then suddenly the beat drops and you're just like, yo, I did not expect that to happen. That's kind of what I was going for, like a Pink Floyd kind of thing. I was listening to the song, the sweet Shine On You Crazy Diamond. That really inspired me. Like the fact that they have, what is it, 9 or 12 parts? I can't remember. No, 9 parts of the song.
It's a lot. It's a lot of parts.
It's like a 20-minute song, but the thing about it is it's so cohesive that like I played it for Paul the whole live set of them doing the 20-minute song, and like it never feels like 20 minutes. It feels like they came and went way too fast. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick. And so with that, I mean, you were touching on it too, King. So you have a background guitar too. You said starting at 10, was it?
Yeah.
So what's your your story with that, and what made you decide from just doing guitar work going into more of the hip hop element?
So at first, when I first got the guitar, I wanted to be in a band, right? And I ended up being in a band. First of all, we ended up forming and stuff like that. That was cool. But it's like I came from this musical family where like that was my way of communicating with honestly myself and other people, you know? So my older sibling would play drums, my younger sibling would play bass. That's actually Mark Konye now. Obviously, he raps for me now. It started out with that, but what was crazy, I don't know why, even though like hip hop wasn't like something that we listened to in our house, because honestly, my dad's a music professor, and this music, you see where him and I don't see eye to eye probably immediately. So what we noticed is like I just hear like let's say a hip hop song on the radio or something like that, and like I just like to start to match the syllables or whatever. And I had like this thing where I was like, oh, I just tell people I didn't really listen to rap or whatever. I'd be like, oh, I'm not a rapper or whatever. People would make jokes about me being a quote unquote rapper in like probably middle school or high school before I even like listened to that style of music, just because that was like kind of what I like to do. What I started to recognize is like I almost see some like type of texture in the rhythms where I'm like, oh, I see where this beat is matching up with this word. This word is like sitting right here. And I was like a major music nerd. So to me, this was like so cool. So I started to honestly hear the mix of rap and melody. And I was like, yo, this is something that I want to hear. It was A Boogie, I'm Not a Regular Person, that I was running labs and stuff like that. I was like, yo, like this dude is someone that I'm like connecting with. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right. And I can kind of relate to what you're saying. I think sometimes you have a passion and then people try to shit on it, but that's what you really speak about, you know? Like, no, I do. I respect that a ton. I've had that in my own personal life. So that's cool that you kind of saw, you know what, I like what I do with like instrument stuff, but when you were like feeling how like the verses or like whatever was grabbing you, like I gotta fucking try.
Yeah, for real.
Yes, 100%.
Right. And then for you, Skinz, like I know obviously you said punk rock, definitely a big influence. Do you have any instrument background on that, or are you just kind of straight more on the bars from the jump?
Man, I played a little guitar and I am bad at it. These motherfuckers, sometimes I'll just walk into a room and they're like playing guitar but like blindfolded or something stupid like that, like obnoxiously talented. And I'm like, man, I'm just trying to play Damn It by Blink-182 and I fuck up on the third chord. And it's only 3 chords. Pop punk doesn't have that many chords, and trying to learn that kind of thing is like, wow, I'm really bad at this. But I do have a little bit of a guitar background. I play a little bit of piano. I think piano is really beautiful, and I like to try to capitalize that into a lot of my instrumentals. Mm-hmm. But I've taken some recent little like help in like classes when it comes to like a little bit of singing and stuff like that, just to try to expand a little bit more. But besides that, man, I was just spitting. That's it. I'm just a freestyler, man.
Dude, nothing wrong with that. I give people credit with like instruments. Like I don't know how, you know, it's so like, I mean, not to like always like, you know, deprecate myself or anyone else, but like there's so many forms of art, but just like the element of understanding a whole, like a tool, whether it be like guitar or like a trumpet or drums, like there's just lots of aspects. So I give tons of credit, but just like in the same breath as like vocal or rapping, right? It's about breathing pattern. It's like being in the pitch. I don't know. It's just, I think sometimes with music, we say artist and we almost overlook it as like this manufactured product, like a food, like a burger or like a snack. It's like, no, like it's fucking art. And, you know, sometimes I feel like there's sometimes a disconnect because the distribution form is like audio versus like, okay, I can see like a Van Gogh painting. So like, all right, they used a brush, but no, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we almost take it for granted, not in the bad way. Just like, I think we're so used to hearing such amazing music that you forget about what the hell goes into it. Plus taking the gumption to put it out there.
100%
for real.
Yeah, you listen to demos of like famous artists and you almost forget that they're human too.
Right.
Like, when you listen to the demo, you remember they're human, but like when you listen to the regular music, you almost forget they're human. That's actually scary because in the music industry, like because people have such perfect pitch and perfect everything, which is really just the computer doing all the work, then people idolize something that they don't even know what they're really idolizing. Like the one meme I always see is like when someone goes up for a Grammy and they go up to grab the Grammy, and really it's like the engineer should be grabbing the Grammy, because we know without the engineer, you know, the artist is just, you know, singing into a microphone. They kind of sound like everybody else, but it was the real engineer that did that work.
Plus, you brought up a really good point, how it's like a lot of it is the computers doing a lot now.
Yeah.
I feel like people have less appreciation for even things like guitar, drums. Well, drums, honestly, especially because people are hearing people are hearing on like a drum machine, drum loops, and people are hearing like all these, you know what I mean? Loops are coming from samples that aren't even from the artist, let alone sometimes not even from the producer themselves. So people have like no value. They're just like, oh, the quote unquote beat as a whole is really good, when really that could be like 4 or 5 people on instruments, even playing it, whether it's into the computer or just straight up recording the instruments, you know?
Not to mention the industry can sometimes be washed up, because I mean, you know, any 13-year-old kid, not to call myself, not to, you know, point fingers, but any 13-year-old kid can get on their computer and just start making music, you know, like
Right, and it is. There's certain people that you're right. They're just hitting like 4 buttons and letting it ride. But then there's people like, I think, you know, just because having a brother in like electronic background, it's almost kind of like, oh yeah, you just push a button. But like when you, like you said, going in the FL Studio and doing all these different like filters and pitch corrections and stuff, it's like, holy shit! Like people don't realize it on the big scale.
So much into it just to get it perfect.
Oh, exactly. So, all right. Because I want to make sure I got everyone. So Skinz. So I listened to your track. So your album, dude, that came out, loved it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So, I appreciate it.
Affirmations.
Yeah, this is my boy right
dude. You know Chef's Kiss, dude. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm a sucker for like horns and vibey shit. I was just off.
It's crazy, bro. That shit, I really love that. And I'll tell you right now, before we can go further, the way we got to that, the inspiration for that is we were just sitting around one time and we were chilling in the Ville, and we were just like listening to some instrumentals, listening to some music. And I was like, yo, could you put on some Chance? And we put on Chance, the assy rapper, but we put on Sunday Candy, and we were bumping that. I was like, yo, can we get a Sunday Candy type beat? Let's try to find or make one of those. And like, we literally found one immediately, and we're like, bro, this is it. Let's go do something with this. And we went in and we just did our thing. The exact day that we discovered and owned the beat, we made the song, and it was done that day.
Let me tell you,
we were up till 7 a.m. because we didn't go to sleep. I think I missed class. I don't even know, bro. But like
that McDonald's breakfast right after the studio session.
Hey,
very good after that.
Bro, it always hits.
Yeah, that was a great man. That was a really good one for us.
But no, okay. As soon as you said Chance, that makes sense. I was thinking like it screamed me like some Chance, some more hits that album. Trying to think of some other ones that kind of like came to mind. But as soon as I heard the horns, I'm like, oh, like I just loved it. But
I appreciate that so much, brother.
Yes, that's just like personal preference, loving it. I mean, I love a lot of the other stuff too, because I feel like you went super hard on like Blessed with a Gift and a Curse and Hanya. Is that how you say it?
Hanya. It's actually,
okay.
People don't know that one. Yeah. It's actually Hanya. It's what that actually is just a quick thing is I'm big into a lot of Japanese culture and traditions and stuff like that.
Okay.
Hanya is a female Oni, is the way I would describe it. It's in a female version of an Oni, which is just a demon spirit, basically.
Okay.
Demons lurking, yeah.
Got some demons lurking. Them demons don't stop
lurking.
I thought I heard a couple like Japanese references in the track, so that kind of makes sense to me. Okay.
Yeah, I do a lot of little anime references because I'm really big into anime. And I kind of just like throwing that shit in there because I think first of all, I think it's cool. I think it's funny. I think sometimes it fits well. I really like that kind of thing. And that's where a lot of that breaks down to.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just like, man, because the first one I heard was Affirmations. Like, wow, I really vibed this. And I heard kind of the switch up. And I'm like, wow, like multi-aspect. I really dig it. And so what I saw these elements in the album. And so what kind of was the story to create that piece?
Affirmations?
No, the whole album itself.
Oh, just dreaming.
Yes, just dreaming. Yes.
So realistically, I actually believe it or not, I didn't really have a lot of a musical influence or background. I didn't really have an artsy upbringing. Nobody really bringing that into my life. And I kind of grew up in a town, not for nothing. It's not a very like hopeful town. It's kind of like, it's got a lot of, once you're in it, a lot of people feel stuck in it. A lot of people want to get out of it. And I'm not saying anything bad about the town, but that is the mentality of a lot of people I grew up around.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't actually end up pursuing their dreams or doing anything. And not for nothing, I'm a science student. I do a lot of chemistry. That's what I went to college for. I was always a science person, and music was kind of always just like a far off goal. Like, this would be the dream to get to live, to be able to do what I actually love for a living. That would be the dream. And that's why that album came together. I really wanted to, a lot of the songs are so different between how they sound, how I'm performing them, the melodies. Sometimes I'm going hard. Sometimes I'm just trying to do a chill track. Sometimes it's a freestyle. And sometimes I wrote a bunch of sad boy shits. I do that. But like, I really wanted to try to show diversity, because with that album, it's like, these are all the directions I could go. And in the bigger picture of the album, it's kind of the dream of what could be. It's like, this is just me hanging around and dreaming, doing what I do, and hoping to be able to make a living out of it one day.
Okay. That makes sense now with the album name, but it was a really solid concept. I really dug it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hell yeah.
And so kind of with that, what do you feel like, what's next for you? And like, you talked about Dreamville, right? You're pursuing
Yes,
it, but is there kind of places you want to see yourself go musically?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things one of my buddies used to tell me back in the day, he's like, bro, because I eat a lot of spicy food. I'm actually kind of like known for that. I do like a bunch. Yeah, bro. I do a lot of, like, I eat ghost peppers and shit like that on the regular. I'm on some crazy shit like that, and I just like it. And my one boy was like, man, I want you to go on Hot Ones and go freestyle like a Juice WRLD. But he said that I got to do a bit for it. He's like, listen, when you eat the peppers, when they're really like mild, act like it's really hot. And then once you get the hot ones, just start acting like it's really mild. And I was like, bro, I'm going on the Hot Ones, and I'm gonna do that. And that's one of the dreams. I want to smoke and rap with Snoop Dogg. That's a fucking dream. Wiz Khalifa, that was a big part of my upbringing too. I'd love that. That's a goal. I want to go spit some real shit with J. Cole, talking with all not even just J. Cole, Dreamville in general, like Boss. Bro, he's fucking nuts. Bro. Yo, he's nice. I really fuck with him too. Obviously, Earth Gang. Like, there's a lot of people on Dreamville that I really relate to, and I mean, I know they don't know me, and I know they probably have no interest in knowing me at this point. But when the time comes that they do know me, I like to think that we'd have a lot that we could discuss about philosophy and actually making a difference in the world and changing the world, which is why I like Dreamville so much. Is because it's like I said, it's music with a purpose. It's like they're talking about real shit, and I love that, and I really relate to a lot of it. And I really like a lot of it, and I want to see the changes that their organization wants to see. And a big one is, man, I got to freestyle with Eminem at some point. Put me up. I'm going to lose. That'll be my first loss in a rap battle. But let me rap battle just to lose and get sauce. Man would make, bro, he would fucking MGK start a career. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that shit's crazy. M's just the GOAT. I really wanted that to happen, you know what I'm saying? Those are like the big dreams. Exactly. Those are like some wild, crazy dreams.
Dude, dreams are good, man. And I think, you can get them if you freaking put your mind to it.
No, absolutely. And I think a lot of people just, where they stop seeing progress and where they don't achieve their dreams is, it doesn't happen as fast as they want it to. And then they kind of just start being lax, or they give up a little bit. And it's like, man, you just have to keep pushing. Just keep it pushing a little bit. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're digging in a tunnel and you don't see the light, but eventually you might. You know what I'm saying? That's a bar. Hold on.
Yeah, let me go record that, dude. Keep that line.
Yeah, for real.
Put that shit on a swivel. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
So, okay. So I'll kind of touch base here on Konye, but this will kind of like, I think, bring everybody in. So the Konye Kingdom, I saw this on your IG. Kind of break it down for me what this is all about.
Okay, first of all, shout out the Konye Kingdom.
Konye Kingdom.
Second of all, so the name, it represents, honestly, my whole movement. So it's really just a community of people who are committed to building up other kings and queens. Because what I noticed, like, when I was a little kid, I used to be like a really, really shy kid. Like, I wouldn't say anything. Like, I was a kid who kind of played with his toys. And even if he wanted to be with another group of kids, like, I wouldn't really say much. But every now and then there would be, whether it's like a counselor at daycare or it's just like a random ass student, doesn't even know me, where they'd speak up for me. And I didn't like, you don't need someone to speak up for you. But when someone would go out of their way and do that, that meant more to me than like I could even express even at the time. So I grew up having this mentality, and like, it's almost like a subconscious thing where I just love to be able to be that person who can reach out. So honestly, the Konye Kingdom is just a movement of people willing to build up other kings and queens who are willing to be vulnerable, be like, yo, I'm gonna be the one to reach my hand out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. That's amazing.
Yeah, he said, "Ooh, snap the picture. Where's Philip?
Yo, Philip.
Shout out Philip.
Philip,
Photographer, yo. Shout out Philip.
Yo, Philip's the go. He's a really good photographer.
Nah, for real. He always gets the flex.
But yeah, everyone, they know what it is, bro. Konye King.
That's awesome. And so is it right to say everyone's kind of in the shot here collectively a part of that?
Y'all actually got your own movement.
Yeah,
We gotta
break it down.
Listen, I'd love to be in the Konye Kingdom, but I tell you what, the Konye Kingdom, I feel like, is an embodiment of everybody that's on that same wave and mindset that he is. So, of course, I like to think we're all a part of that. But I do think we break down into individual levels of what we also create.
Right,
For example, I have a line of merch. I have a brand that I run. I have a clothing distributor, a website, and I actually have a few authors, dancers, things like that. And they're all under an organization that I put together by the name of Skinz Inc. And that was just a name that I was working with for a little while, and then it became a bigger thing and it started expanding. I started getting different artists, models, all kinds of things started developing with it. And that's really more of, I guess, where it's more in line with my people, what I believe, my dreams. Of course, they all coincide because Konye's helped with a lot of Skinz Inc. like things and whatnot. And Love Lagoon's been there for more than I can count type shit. But like when the Konye Kingdom's doing something, I'm like, hey, yo, let me go check out the Kingdom real quick, see what's good going on over here in the Philly. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think they're very interworking, but we do have our own direction that we do that stuff with.
Fuck yeah, that's sick. Okay, that makes sense because I saw your website and I saw that you were talking about that, so I wasn't sure when we were talking about earlier if that was like correlated, the same, separate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good vibes. Yeah, I won't lie. I saw the merch line. I saw one of the posts with the stickers.
Yeah. That's a fan favorite. That's a fan favorite right there.
Yeah. I won't lie. But the hoodies and the shirts, dude, I fucked with that.
She's an amazing person. She's really cool. And I love that kind of body positivity that I want to spread with the brand. And that's part of a lot of things with Skinz Inc. is a lot of unity and coming together, bringing people together and trying to dismantle a lot of oppressive systems. And I think that sends a message right there alone. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do that. Do that. So
yeah,
I was big on that.
I'm all for unity. I remember my dad, he used to throw these parties, and he still does, but they've scaled down a lot. But he used to throw these parties where, like, at the minimum, I remember for his 50th birthday, at the minimum, there was 1,500 people there. And it's like, how many people do you know? And it's crazy because, like, he trusted 1,500 people to come and pull up to this party. And it really goes to show you, like, he's bringing all sorts of different people, different backgrounds. And of course, like, we have the stage, so we're having reggae artists come and perform. And it's crazy because everyone is just sitting there, different vibes, different backgrounds, but they're all chilling for just one vibe, different artists that are coming in. It's like everyone is together. There's love in the air. There's love everywhere. It's just, you can feel the love when you walk up into this backyard, when you walk up into this house, you can feel the love. And I guess that's where Love Lagoon comes from. I'm trying to create a connection with people. Like, from the music that I've listened to, I follow people that listen to the same music that I listen to. And they're really cool people. Like, the fact that the music can get me friends means that, like, essentially the music is what establishes these connections. And I want people to make the connections when they listen to my music. I want people to listen to my music. And just for a second, if I could speak for them or at least say something that's been on their mind, and it's out there. It's out there.
Making straight memories.
Yeah, making memories.
Memories are what mean most in this world to me.
Yep. All you have left.
I love your guys' energy.
Yo, bless up. I appreciate it. It's reciprocated and appreciated too.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Definitely. And so I'm actually going to do a little riff off what you guys said that's not on my sheet. So one thing that I get from you guys, since you're trying to have these communities and, getting people out of oppressive situations, right? With everything going on with, like, the pandemic and, different things, whether it be like Black Lives Matter and all these things are in the news. How has that been? How involved have you been in that aspect in your communities locally? Has that been stuff that you were kind of seeing on the front lines? I mean, we're all in different parts of the world, so we have our different experiences, but it sounds like you're obviously, like, in tune with some of these things. So I'm just kind of curious, what's going on for you guys?
Yeah, he pointed right. So, like, this is something that, bless up, brother. This is something like I try not to super publicize at a certain point because the biggest thing in my planet I'd ever want to avoid, especially just rap and hip hop in general, that's not my culture. And I'm the first to say it's not where I come from. Well, it is where I come from, but like it's not my culture. And the thing that I always wanted to avoid is the concept of like a culture vulture or like being that fucking white savior, that asshole that everybody hates. And that's something I try so desperately to avoid. But for what it's worth, man, most of my friends are affected by these things. Some of my family even is affected by these things. A lot of people I care about are. And besides that fact, fuck, it's just the right thing to do at a certain point. And over the summer, I took a lot of action with it, more than I actually thought I would. But like I guess like when the opportunity presents itself, you just got to step up. I guess at a certain point.
Yeah.
Right.
And like as far as like protests and stuff, I went to well over 50. I might have broke 100 easily. I'm not even gonna lie. I've been to a lot of those. I went to the big one in Washington D.C. That was such an incredible experience. I've never seen so many people come together. I got to hear from, I believe George Floyd's daughter. I believe it was. That was such an inspirational speech. Some other incredible speakers that were there. It was such a massive movement of like empowerment, but also, man, a lot of sadness, and that's what you could expect because you don't want people to come by and be happy because there's nothing to be happy about. There's no change in a system that fucking needs it. And man, I never try to get on my high horse and talk about this shit because it's not for me to talk about. But I was very engaged in that. I think that is something that the brand Skinz Inc. fully represents. We support. Actually, a big thing. This is also something I didn't talk about with a lot of my fans or anything because I try to support without being that guy saying, "Oh, look, I'm supporting." Mm-hmm. Is actually half of all the merch sales, half of all of the net, not profit but gross, actually was donated to Black Lives Matter charities. So the company ended up dropping a decent amount of money in there. And it was really cool to do that. I tried to doing empowering things with some of my models, things like that. And it was really, I tried getting people involved. There's actually still stuff going around in my hometown. I've organized a few of them myself. That's a big thing for the organization, I think. And that's that. You can see it all over the social media, but I didn't want to post too much about it because at a certain point, are you doing this for attention for yourself? Or are you taking advantage of the calls and just trying to get attention? Are you being that guy? So right. I made a lot of posts for a while. There's a lot of posts on there, but it's mostly for awareness. And after I felt like I reached everybody that I could have reached from my platform as an artist, I stopped doing it because then, I've already reached who I'm going to reach and I guess I'm not going to get any more out of it.
Mm-hmm. You brought up a really good point with the awareness thing. Cause ready, as soon as I very unfortunate situation with George Floyd broke out, to see everyone start posting about it as a black male for a second, it kind of made me a little bit hurt because it was like, why does someone have to die to see all these people start to represent it? But what I also noticed was the fact that so many people talked about it, even if some people just talked about it because that was almost became a trend for that moment, but them spreading that awareness created unity, whether we liked it or not. That's what created so many these situations where people were standing up and protesting. And I remember when I was walking around, it was a protest, and I'm seeing certain people's like their eyes are tearing, they're putting their hands up, saying Black Lives Matter. I'm seeing all these white people with me while I'm saying Black Lives Matter. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is honestly something that I wouldn't even dream. Yeah, absolutely, it's pure unity, it's pure love, and it's something that I would even like dream of as a kid. Because like when I was a kid, I like all my like friends that were white would try to make it like almost a bad thing for me to be, for me to be black, my culture. So I almost grew up being kind of scared to represent myself. Like, I was a smart kid. Plus I was like a music kid. So a lot of the, music people in that area, they'd be like, oh, if you're good at something, they'd be like, oh, well, you're the white black person. You're the white black friend and stuff like that. So to see people actually spreading awareness and bringing power to being black, being African American, I was like, that's crazy. So I talked to my brother and my mom. We started going to protests together and stuff like that. And I was like, yo, it was just a beautiful moment. I feel like it just brought the nation together for a period of time. We're still splitting apart in areas, but we're getting there.
And expanded on that a little bit, I'd like to say it was all unity too, but man, for what it's worth, this is something that right here is the first time I really told anybody besides these two. Over the summer, I had a job where I did a little bit of work. It wasn't like a job, but it was a pretty stable little something that I was helping out with somebody from the community. It was just a local level thing. It wasn't a big corporation thing. I was helping with their establishment, and they found out I was going to these protests. And the boss came in, sat me down with what I guess would be my manager. And they're like, listen, if you keep going to these protests and stuff, you're fired. And I was like, well, fuck you. Suck a whole dick, bitch. And that's literally like what I said walking out. And they're like, all right, well, you're blah, 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 you're this. And I was like, I don't want to support you or your shit business or you shit people. You go suck wild dick. And not only just in my job that I have there, fuck that place. In my hometown and the local other towns, they're like fucking, the term is escaping me right now, but like a sundown town, I think that's the term. I didn't know it was like that. But man, when I was holding up a sign that said Black Lives Matter in the street, I had like 6 people throw something at me. I had like a bunch of people try to fucking reach out their car and grab my sign. People told me to go blah, blah, blah myself. And yeah, that was the other one. And then there was another one from my hometown. Actually, this wasn't actually necessarily a Black Lives Matter one, but it was a Black Trans Lives Matter protest. And something they wanted us to do was to wear all white to represent, like a unity, all come together. They see the white and they know. So I wore my all white fit. I had everything decked out. I had the white F1s and shit like that. And we showed up and we went to the whole protest. And it's not really, I'm not going to say the name, but it's not a really good town. And like a lot of shit be going down when shit gets dark. And that's most of my area where I'm from, but this place especially. And we get done with the protest and I'm walking back. And I was alone to this one because the person I was going with, I stopped associating with. So I was going to him alone for a while. And then I went to this one and I'm walking back to my car. And I got probably like quarter mile away from my car. We marched pretty far. And then these people came out like an alleyway, these 3 dudes. And they're like, hey, yo, we found one of them. And I was like, they ain't talking to me. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. They ain't talking to me though. So I just kept walking. And then they started walking towards me, and I was like, whatever, I'm cool. It ain't nothing. And then they started like sprinting at me. They started booking. I was like, oh shit, they talking to me. So I started, man, I was gunning it all my years as a track, bro. I went to nationals for track, and all my years of track, I never ran that fast in my life. I started dipping. I was freaking moving, but like, it's just, he was talking about the unity. It's fucking disgusting to see the lack of unity and the hate and like that's the shit that I really don't like at all. And that's something I want to see. I'm going to change the world before I leave it. And I want to do my part to try to change the hate in this world. Because I'm a very hateful person, but I'm also a very loving person. I want to put a lot more love in the world.
Love is the only answer.
Love is the fucking answer in this bitch. And I just saw a lot of hate. So I did see a lot of that too.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate you guys opening up. I know it's obviously there's so much going on. It's a transformational time. And yeah, it's great to hear the unity part. And then obviously what you were talking about, Skinz, like in my day-to-day life, I do see stuff that conflicts, and it hurts to see it because it's like, you wish people were more open-minded, and you don't know how much. You didn't
even know if they were like that until like this stuff starts happening. And they say some shit, and it's like, whoa, hold up. What did you just say?
It's like, hold up, what?
Right, like that's the thing. Like this, like a lot of it, I don't think you really realized it till this shit went down. And you're like, wow, okay, I didn't realize the cookie was crumbling this way in different parts. And so there's a lot of stuff. I think one thing for me personally, in my experience, is I've always kind of been proud of like growing up, like, obviously where I live now is a very white area, but like I've grown in areas where like I lived out in Idaho for a few years, and in our family housing unit, there's a lot of people from different backgrounds. I have friends that were from Korea and some people that were Islam, faith of Muslim, and just like a wide variety. And I was really looking at it now, I was very fortunate. I almost didn't view things on a race level. So when I kind of moved to like smaller towns and you'd hear things, you're like, whoa, like, this is weird. Like I never put two and two together. But
that's kind of what it was.
It's crazy that people think that way.
Right. I was gonna say, like, where I'm from, my specific hometown, I'm not obvious. I will say it's probably white dominant for sure. But there was a lot of diversity in the sense that you go to any lunch table and there's diversity from a lot of different groups. To be quite honest, the only group I don't think we had a good representation of was the Asian community, and that's probably the only thing that I was outside of, I guess. But like, I was really raised in it with my hometown specifically, and we played football. You do all that. Everybody's kind of coincided. Like fucking some redneck kids and some hood kids. We were all getting along, popping shit after class. It was kind of cool like that. Fuck the country shit, but like it's cool that we got together. You know what I'm saying? And then like I knew that kind of thing was around, but it's seeing how bad it was just what was the shocking thing to me.
And
oh
how
my
normalized
God.
it was too. I remember there was a kid in it was like 7th or 8th grade, and his nickname to like this group of people was Phasian. And let me tell you what Phasian stands or Phasian means. It's short for favorite Asian.
Oh no.
Combination.
Oh no.
Like they would call him their favorite. And at first, like as a 7th grader, you know, you think, oh, I'm their favorite Asian. It's awesome because I'm their favorite, until you realize, like, wait, I'm the only Asian they know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I felt bad for him. Like at first I was like, that's cool. And then I realized, and I was like, how the fuck is this shit normalized? Like, how can you get away with it? How can you say this shit and everyone just agrees with it?
Mm-hmm. No, it's interesting you say that, because that was the point I was going to bring up, was what the Black Lives Matter has kind of like made me realize, especially in the last like 2 years or so, is this level of like, I guess they sometimes coin it like third degree racism, like things you don't notice, like what King just said. You're like, oh, yeah, you're the white black person, or I'm an Oreo, or like
things like that. Yeah.
Right. And those are things that
I think this was a big awakening for the people it did educate. That's really cool. There's still obviously the people that are ignorant being who they're gonna be.
At that point, it's not even ignorance, because it's like you've been educated about it. Now you're just being arrogant.
Now you're just a dick. And
now you're a dick.
But like, I will say there was a lot of people that I think were probably not as much as there should have been. A lot of people that were kind of just not exposed to it. And then when they were, they actually took up, which was really cool to see people do that. And I remember the thing that I always looked at is like, out of all the people that I was friends with, like I said, like football, everybody being cool, when the time came and these things started happening, I didn't see a lot of familiar faces at these protests. And I would try to talk to them, and I'd even try to bring them with me, and people, they really, man, I lost a lot of friends this year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like that shit was actually nuts.
No, it is. It's obviously a very loaded thing, but for me, like, I'm thankful that I've learned as much as I have, because you don't really realize how systemic it's been over the years, between like redlining and just different policies.
Oh, that's a problem.
And you feel, not so much like a guilt, but you feel horrible that you almost had this like rose-colored view on things that you're like, oh, that never happened to me. So I assume, everyone's in the same camp, and it's absolutely not.
That right there is like the biggest problem, is the people that are like, it hasn't happened to me, so it doesn't exist.
That's ignorance.
First of all, as a scientist, that pisses me off so much. Like, hold up, bro. Your absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Get the fuck out of here. All right, man. Y'all just, that shit used to get me so fucking mad. And then some of the other counter arguments, people just suck, man. People suck. People suck. I'm just gonna say, some people really suck.
No, oh my God. I understand. I do. And yeah, I just felt like when you were talking about the level of like interactive with like people in your community and fans, it was like, I know this is probably something that's close to your heart, and it's worth bringing up. So I appreciate you guys for doing that, because I know it's not easy at all. And even for myself, it's like, there's times to this day that I think, okay, do I have to like refrain myself from saying this unless I want to have World War III on my hands, right? Or when's those moments that you stand up and say, all right, this is not fucking right, and I need to, right?
Yeah. I just want to say before, like, any change of topic, first of all, so everybody could hear her name one more time, Breonna Taylor. Arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. That's something we needed to say. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mayor Rice. I'm on Arbery. I know a lot of people that ran our miles. I think it was 2.03. Now I feel like an asshole because I don't know the number, but 2.0, was it 2.03? 2.03 miles for Elmwood Arbery, all that shit. And not only just that, I was going to say a big thing for Skinz Inc. that I want to put on record, absolutely LGBT friendly. I don't come into my organization trying to be disrespectful in that sense. I don't like anything like that.
He'll kick you out.
No. I'm not gonna kick you out. I'm gonna beat your ass. I will run your shit. I'm from New York, bro. I'll run your shit out, bro. Like I just really wanted to put that down too. Is like, that's obviously been the big focus of over the summer, but that doesn't mean that there's not a big focus on a lot of LGBT lives matters and things like that, of like people not giving credit to that either. And I don't want anybody to think that my organization is just trying to cherry pick shit like that at all, because that's not what it's about.
Mm-hmm. You know, just freaking love everyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, on paper, it sounds so simple, and you think, why can't it happen? But obviously, we have areas to grow. But I think a huge thing is the fact that I think people in our generation and maybe others as well, it's like an acknowledgement, like, okay, yeah, like we need to do this. We need to stand up. We need to make this right. And I think we'll be the generation that kind of maybe pushes it past the goal line. I hope.
We can dream.
Yeah.
Definitely dream.
Facts. So no, but truly, thank you for that. Just
Yes,
I was trying to, like, you know, we have fun here, but obviously there's real shit too, you know?
No, dude, both. And that's why I like J. Cole, because my man's gonna go in and write a song like High for Hours and talk about some real shit. But then he's also gonna say, get off my dick, bitch. Hey, and I'm like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what these situations introduce too? Because this is something that was brought up with J. Cole on the internet. Which like so
talk about it.
Talk about these situations. So you brought something up earlier, right? You said a lot of these people believe that racism, quote unquote, doesn't exist because they've never seen it, which is so many people believe that. So the internet was saying that J. Cole and Kendrick, they said that they were uninvolved in Black Lives Matter because they weren't posting about it online. Meanwhile, there are multiple accounts. These people are on video. They were at the protest. They weren't posting about it. They were there actually supporting, because they weren't supporting for them. They were supporting for the cause. Mind you, these are celebrities. It would have helped their, you know, it helps your image so much to talk about something like that, but they didn't, that wasn't what it was about. Like, they went there. They were actually at the protest. A lot of people didn't believe that they were there because they didn't post about it. That shows a level of ignorance that we just have, that we have to understand. Hey, there's some things where you just got to say, even if I don't know, I'm not going to assume, because look at what these assumptions are turning into. So just some random shit. I went to so I ended up losing a backpack in the city of Oneonta, and I literally went over to go ask like where my stuff was and stuff like that. And so I go to, it was like, and this was on a college campus, mind you. It was on a college campus. I go to the campus police station to ask them for it. And I pull up with a teacher saying, hey, he lost his backpack. Now this campus police officer says, oh, well, what's in it? And I'm like, at first the way she asked it rubbed me the wrong way, but I was like, you know what? She's got to know what's in it. I said, I had this book, I had this book, I had this and all this stuff. Tell me how she goes. She picks up the only bag in the lost and found that me and this other teacher could see. She unzips the smallest pouch. I'm telling you, immediately she was doing this like it was a drug search on the spot. I was like offended, because I was like, first of all, there's nothing in there. But second of all, I'm like, yo, you know, I'm coming here to get a backpack. She's trying to get me, like, you know, trying to get me in trouble. She's trying to assume all these things. And it's like, yo, like, I'm here with a teacher. Like, assumptions are literally like the cause of like a bunch of, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It happens. I mean,
no, I know, but like, yeah, it is. It's one of those things that, like, you fucking know that if that same scenario happened like 10 different times, 10 different ways, it wouldn't happen the same way. And so, yeah. So maybe I'll circle back to it. But what I was gonna do is this, and actually maybe this will tie in what we were just talking about, right? So obviously you're talking about real shit, you're talking about fun stuff, right? So you're talking about like your lyrics, and with that, you know, everyone kind of approaches it differently, right? Like a Lil Wayne, like, will freaking just go off the noggin and just riff off.
That's
right? And then some people are just gonna fucking write and then be executionist with their pen. For you guys, kind of collectively, do you have like lyrics first, and then you're like, all right, let's find the track to match it, or or you listen to the track and then you go off? Yeah, how do you tackle this shit,
bro? All right, so I hate being the stereotype, but goddamn, do I love me some lyrics. So I really be sitting down. Sometimes I'll hear a track and I'll be like, I know the exact words that are supposed to hit right here or right here, and then I'll apply them. But there's been times in my life where I've written shit down prior, like in my notes, and I was like, yo, this beat with these words, let's bring them together. So I kind of do a little bit of both. But man, writing is a big part of all of it for me. Is the lyrics really break down to a huge part. And at the end of the day, yeah, you need a melody, you need it to sound good. And sometimes I get a little too focused on the lyrics because I think it's cool as hell. But not definitely both. But man, I be always getting tight at him. He's about to tell you how he writes. It's so completely different than mine.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Okay, I'm here.
I don't write. I walk into the studio and I got rid of the pen, I got rid of the paper, and I say, bro, all it has to be the moment. So there was like this whole like probably 3-month period where I was really recognizing this. I was like, whether it's freestyling, whether it's writing music, or honestly even just writing a paper, if someone tells you to access your emotions, like access the present, what's going on. Like when you think about something, think about everything in the present moment, because that's all we have. You write about the past, you're writing about memories, and that's okay. You write about the future, writing about, you know, emotional experiences that you hope to have. But what is in the present moment is what you almost understand the most, at least as of that moment. So I figured, like, I'm just going to listen to the beat, and whatever I'm feeling at that moment is going to be whatever the audience is feeling at that point in the, you know, listening to the music, because I make it left to right. I'm like, oh, so they're gonna hear this line. Now I'm finna say this. Now I'm finna do this. Oh, wait, that makes me want to feel this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
Well, I'll be documenting shit down. Like when we were writing affirmations, I was trying to talk to our distributor, and they're like, all right, you guys jot down the lyrics, we'll have them distributed, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, yo, Konye, what's your lyrics for this? He's like, I don't know. I was like, what you mean you don't know your lyrics? Come on now. I know his lyrics better than him. I'm so serious. Like, this man doesn't know his own lyrics, but man, could he kill a beat though? You know what I'm saying? What's up,
That's facts.
It's a vibe. You're in the zone.
Yes.
Yeah. Like once you get in the zone, you just know. Sometimes, like for me, it's a mixture of like their different styles. Because I know for me, like I gotta make the instrumental first most of the time. But sometimes, like I'll write down some words and then I'll hear like, you know, like I'll hear a drum break behind it, and I'm like, oh, so I could just produce that real quick. Like I'll write the words sometimes, and then I'll hear the instruments in the back of my head, and then I'm like, all right, so I gotta place this there, this there. And then for some of the songs, I'll make the instrumental first. At least that's what I used to do. I used to make the instrumentals first and then write lyrics over them. But then it starts to become more of like whatever is in my head is gonna come out. Like for example, The Lesson. And I know we're talking about vocals, but for the guitar, that specific guitar was actually improvised. Like I just had an idea for at least half of that guitar solo in my head, and the rest was just improvised. The rest was just what I was feeling. I mean, to be honest with you, the whole like it doesn't sound like it, but the whole time I was just struggling to play because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, all right, as long as I can at least get there was a feeling in my head that I knew I needed to get out, and the only way that it would get out is if I heard the exact same tone in music. And so I just had to do that, and I was like, all right, that's complete. Now this whole drama is like out. It's on the song now.
That's so cool. That's really cool. You always wonder because like there's so many ways you like we talked about earlier, you can tackle art. And so it's pretty neat to be like, all right, you know, I feel like if I was in that spot, you know, I've kind of dabbled with like rap in high school and stuff, but I was always like a pen to paper kind of guy. And so you're like trying to find like the next witty thing. But dude, like King and like what you're talking about too, Lagoon, like just freaking like, yeah, I vibed and just like I'm just riffing off the top. That's so sick.
Yeah. We're just trying to get out what we're feeling, you know, like whatever we're feeling in the moment is what's going to get out. Cause I mean, shit, when I first started like actually recording my voice and getting serious about music, it was because like I had emotions that I couldn't talk to anybody else about. And the only person that I trusted, or the only thing that I trusted to talk to, was a microphone.
The mic always listened to you.
And it's crazy because I'll be releasing this music and everybody would hear it. But the thing about it is I don't have to care about that because I got my idea out. The microphone listened. The microphone didn't judge me. The microphone didn't do anything when I said what I needed to say. And when I said it and I felt like I said it, the microphone, you know, it took it all in.
How do you know the mic didn't judge?
Yeah.
I don't know what that microphone says when I'm not around.
Well, that microphone be talking shit.
Yeah, I gotta throw that mic in the garbage, bro. Get a whole new mic.
I be babying mics. Come on, man.
So let me ask you this, right? Obviously we talked a lot about your guys' sound, but let's talk about maybe like the genre, the scene at large. What's kind of your take on like rap today or hip hop? Like you have obviously with COVID, things have made things restricted from maybe a live perspective, right? Maybe knock on wood this year, we're getting live a little more popping. It sounds like it. So I'm here for that. So, but you have another big animal in the room of how the music distribution's changed. Obviously streaming's been here, but TikTok's really changed how we're going about with that.
Apparently.
So ready? Here's my take on this. And I know a lot of musicians are about to disagree with this on the internet. So a lot of people say TikTok is going to ruin music because they're saying, oh, well, now it all comes down to a TikTok hit. But TikTok has literally done everything a musician could hope for. It put the power in the hands of the people, the hands of the listener. At this point, people are sharing something because they like it, not because it's just label created, not just because it's, oh, this dude had this experience, had this connect that blew him up. No, this is like the power in the people. And look at what it's done to the sound. This is just my opinion. Like all these artists that are up there, like that are popping. Yes, they're popping. It's like there's always that game like who's the most popping, but everyone has their own purpose. They put a footprint in the ground that can't be overstepped by anybody else. I love to point out Rod Wave because he's really introducing soulful trap. We got a big emo influence coming into the rap scene, which I love. We got the Kid Leroy. We got Mario Judah. Yo, I love Mario Judah.
How you going?
100%.
Where the fuck is Mario Judah?
There's also I forgot which artist it was, but there was it's like a punk rap artist that made a song with wow, I should remember this. She's like really big. My name's blanking. But no, we see like extremely big collabs of like art, like A-list celebrities in like almost, punk artists. We got Travis Barker.
Travis Barker, the best drummer in the world. And when he comes into a rap song, I'm like, I don't care. It's good. Don't care what they're saying. It's a good song though.
Yeah, 100% though. But honestly, like I feel like it's really freed up like a space for honest creativity with honestly creatives. That's just what I think.
That's like with TikTok, like you got to think about how accessible it is. Like when you go to like Spotify or Apple Music, you kind of already have this you have at least some sort of sense of what you're going to listen to. You're going to scroll until you find something, but that's what you downloaded. That's what you're used to. And with TikTok, they're just going to kind of throw it at you in the For You page, what you may or may not like. And you got to think like, you've been on TikTok?
Yes. Yeah.
Think of how many obscure songs you've heard from TikTok alone that you wouldn't have heard if you hadn't had TikTok. Like, think of how many artists you got put onto from TikTok. Like, it's very accessible. Anybody could take a song that they like and share it with the world. Suddenly, that person who shared it blows up, and now that song blows up because mad people heard the song. And it's all because of this one person who felt a certain way about the song, and they shared it. And now everybody knows about it. And it was like their guilty pleasure music that they'd listen to.
I tell you what, I was on TikTok like crazy when J. Cole had his little thing. He had his little spurt. I was like, oh, you do that. You do that, Cole. Come on, dog. Come on.
You were scrolling through that whole sound, weren't you?
I don't think I heard that. What was that?
Oh, I was saying you were probably scrolling when that sound was popping off, all the videos using it.
Yeah, no, it was a like every single. I don't even care what it was. It didn't matter. Yeah, J. Cole.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Lagoon, with like the way music is. It's almost kind of like what I think radio was 40 years ago, where you just sort of listen to what was presented, except for instead of, like you said, labels, King, and like, distributors, or if you like grease the palm of the DJ that played the night shift, it's more like the people are picking, right? Like, oh yeah, this shit's funny, or this shit's fire. And so, no, you're right. I found a bunch of different artists I like just from like a remix here or like a viral thing here. So yeah, completely.
You can really change it up.
I think that's what Sleepy Hollow really blew the fuck up. What was that?
Yeah. One of my boys blew up that way. Major shout out. I'm not gonna say if because I'm sure a lot of people know him. Shout out Lils though.
Yeah,
like
bro.
He blew up.
He do that.
I remember I saw this dude. It was like about 2019. He was doing he was showing videos of him like when he do like performances at his like high school and stuff like that in like a theater room. And I was like, oh, this dude's like actually he was like grew up actually a singer and stuff like that. I saw he was doing his thing. All of a sudden, 6 months later, he has this song called Let Me Know, just LMK. That shit went viral on TikTok. Now he has a song. It's number 16 on Billboard with Chance the Rapper.
Yes, sir.
And you know what I'm saying? Like TikTok changes people's lives, and they don't have to have some amazing budget for it. Like it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, like like you said, you don't have to meet the DJ who played at the night shift to get onto that like local radio network anymore. You just have to inspire somebody, and really that brings the beauty back into not making music for the clout, but making music so that someone can actually be inspired by it. And that's really what we're all about, making connections in the music, if we could speak for somebody, if we can make somebody feel at ease about their situation, then we accomplished our goal. We did our job,
Mm-hmm. There's also a quote that I heard. They said, art creates art. Well, good art creates art.
Yes, sir.
So that could be anything from a musician making a song, another musician hears it, wants to make a song. But notice how now musicians are making a song. TikTok make people think, oh, here's what I'm going to do with this. It just adds more value.
Oh, completely. And one thing you touched on with kind of the trend thing, I'm curious your take on, and then I'll change up the question, is do you think like the next wave of where music is going, but more, I guess, hip hop, do you think a lot of like the punk rock 2000s samples are going to kind of come in full wave, or do you think it's going to change up again?
People really like that when people like distorted 808s, they're definitely going to like that distorted crunchy guitar, you know?
Mm-hmm. I say yes. And here's my reason. So when I was like in like 5th grade, and this is like for a lot of people who are maybe 18 to like 23 right now, when radio was still like, you know, kind of popping but dying out because of social media, what we'd hear was punk music on the radio. We'd hear like, you know, metal music, rock was still at like, you know what I'm saying? Still at a height. So now this has become a nostalgic feeling for people. Now you see this nostalgic feeling being influenced into the pop, a genre that hip hop, it literally represents pop culture. You know, what's like popular, what's like, you know, even cool at that time. Mm-hmm. So now introducing elements of nostalgia to that, I really think that that's the next scene. You know what I'm saying? That's has to be.
Samples kind of hook your listener before they even realize they're listening. Like with Skinz' new song that he's recording, he played it back for us, and that sample, the way that the woman was singing in the sample, that was pristine. It sets the vibe for the song before you even hear it. Like, people love a good sample. I love a good sample. He loves a good sample. You know, he loves a good sample. You know, he loves, and it's awesome too, because like at first you don't even realize, and then you're like, wait, I heard that song 10 years ago on the radio. I know that song. Yeah. And it's like you already have a connection to it. Like I don't know, the one that's popping on my head right now is Lil Uzi when he went, I want it that way.
Yeah.
I hated myself for listening to that. I was like, damn it, man, come on. No, I was getting tired. I'll be bumping it, cooking in the kitchen, like, I want it that way. No, man.
Well, I mean, a great J. Cole one that's a reference that is Workout is a screaming.
Yes, yeah, that and fucking one of his biggest one, Wet Dreams, was one of those too. I forget what the sample was, but he did a sample and he did like a stutter step with it. He just did it twice and he just ended up making that the beat.
Wasn't Crooked Smile a sample too?
Absolutely.
I remember you talking to me about that on the phone.
I told him, bro, I love that. And you know what's crazy about Crooked Smile though is I got love for Cole. I think everybody talking shit and just hating, but a lot of people said he sold out on that song because there's actually an original version. Yeah, there's an original version of Crooked Smile that you can look up on like YouTube and shit. And it like the whole second verse is completely different. And I heard both of them. I like them both, but it's completely different. But you could hear where the sample came from in both.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna have to Google that shit now.
Now, please do figure out which one you like.
It's mad fun when you find samples. It's like finding hidden Easter eggs in the songs. You just feel more connected into it. That's what it's about. Yo.
I like to do that with a lot of like the older music. Like, I'll say one of the big things. I'm not going to leak too much, but I got I'm looking at some samples from Frank Sinatra and people like that, like Dean Martin, Nat King Cole. Like, come on, man. Some are like the old greats, like the 50s motherfuckers. I'm looking at some of that shit because I really like that stuff a lot.
Well, you kind of did a sample riff. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say you did a sample riff with that Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, that was man, that was a lot of fun. That was a completely original beat developed by a producer who actually runs a really big in the metal scene. His name is Randy. And shout out Randy. I love you, bro.
Shout out Randy.
He made that into metal. And he put that shit together. He actually runs a band, If I Were You. They're fucking huge. It's a huge band in the metal scene, like millions and millions of followers. And he made a rap beat like that. And like out of all the stuff you'd hear him making, you'd be like, whoa, he made that? And it's like, yeah, bro, Randy, nice. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, before we move on, I have a question for you. It's kind of a two-parter.
Okay.
The first one is, do you think that samples are, some people say they're destroying music. Do you think that samples are harming music? And two is, do you think that the punk scene is really going to be the next big popping thing right now?
So samples, no, I don't think it destroys music because it's just another element of art, right? So you're taking like a little eighth bar or something and flipping it and it becomes a whole new thing. So no, like I don't think so because, and also it's kind of like respect to that artist, I feel, you know, as long as everything's all kosher for distribution and stuff, like it just really expands. Like you guys probably know, there's only so many notes that you can make, right? So you're either doing a tweak here or blare there. So I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a sample and flipping it around. You can do like obviously like blatant ones where it's almost like the one I always think about is Khaled with SZA, but they used Miss Jackson.
Yeah.
And it was like literally just felt like it was like karaoke night at the bar and they just chucked SZA on it. There's like that, like, okay, like that happens. And then there's some really creative ones. Like obviously 40 has done a bunch for Drake that I can off my head. It like you splice and you're like, holy shit, that was a sample. So no, I think sampling's great. So that's
like on that topic, I was gonna say we were talking about like with the emo rap and the samples thing. I said one of my favorite artists, he's my second favorite artist in the world, rest in peace, was Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD stole the dog shit out of Lucid Dreams. Like, wow, did he steal every bit of that with no originality? I love the song so much. He's so great. I love you, Juice. You know what I'm saying? But like, he stole that from a band called Yellow Card, and I mean, it's indistinguishable. Like, it's dope.
Like the whole song, like not the beat,
not the whole song, but like the entire instrumental and the way it sounds is literally like carbon copy. Yeah, and then he did his thing on it.
I remember that.
I'm not saying to discredit that either, because I love the idea of taking that genre and coming into it with rap. I love it. I think Juice did an amazing thing with that. And everybody that was giving him flack for it, hey, yo, go fuck yourself. He did a really cool thing, and I really liked it. A lot of people really liked it, and it brought exposure to the song. I think it's good all around. I really like that.
Yeah, no, I remember that controversy, but I like the track. And shout out to Yellow Car with Ocean Avenue. Great. Yeah. That was some great 10th grade jams for me.
On Cherry Street, we all had that, girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then your second question, so I feel like with music trends, right? You get like at least like a 4 or 5 year window, but could go to 10-year window, right? And so I can see the pop punk things from the 2000s hitting in because, one, it's kind of fresh again, right? Also, two, nostalgia. I've always kind of had a dorky background in marketing personally. It always seems to happen in 20-year cycles, right? So I was like in high school in the 2000s, they were going super hard on like 80s shit 20 years back. 2010s was a lot of this 90s stuff. And now you're kind of ticking in a lot of this 2000s nostalgia. So I feel like you're going to have stuff like, the other things that come to mind is the song Summer Walkin' that did with Usher, right? And she was sampling some Usher in it, or Jerry Sprunger with Tory Lanez and T-Pain and doing I'm Sprung. And you get these creeps like, okay, we're pulling some of this 2000s hip hop too, along with the punk. And so I wonder if it will stay around. My only like contradiction is I wonder nowadays when people have like an attention span of a gnat, will it almost get boring after 18 months because our brains now are almost taking what was 5 years a decade ago and turning that into like a 1-2 year cycle. And then you're almost gonna have like 4 or 5 different waves in the decade for different sounds. That's just the only, like, if I was trying to be all contrarian, I could counter it with.
I think a lot more towards that, because honestly, I hear about this all the time from like my friends that listen to like my punk music, some friends that listen to more like the rap culture and stuff. I think the time came and went, to be honest. I think Juice WRLD, X, Trippie Redd, Ski, I think that little uprising of underground artists like that was the time for punk music to get integrated in. And I really think that's where the blow up was. I'm not saying it was huge, but I'm saying that's what it's getting, in my opinion.
And you got Kid Leroy today, so maybe you got some momentum there. Like maybe we're at the peak right now, we just don't know it.
If anything, we could be at the peak, but if anything, I don't see us going up from here. Is all I'm getting at.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I wonder if I feel like the precipice for seeing whether it's going to extend further or not which is kind of ironic because we were just talking about how he had to change genres. But Tickets to My Downfall by MGK, you wonder if that is almost like the pinnacle of like, okay, this is taking all this punk sound and reviving it in a 2021 filter. Or is it going to be an extension where more people are like, yo, I want to make shit like this, and it gets a couple years extra? That's something I've kind of pondered too.
I'll say that was actually a really good album. I really did like that a lot.
There's some good concepts there.
Eminem, so we should all just thank Eminem for that album doing well. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Amazing album though, and honestly, good artist. I think you're a fantastic artist, MGK. I doubt you're gonna hear this, but if you hear, you know what I'm saying. You're a great artist. But
Eminem pushed him.
We don't know.
He was just like a supportive dad. He's just pushing him to new bounds and leaps.
Yeah, he's just pushing him to better. He's like, I believe in you, man. Now get off God's leg, please. You know what I'm saying?
I had to annihilate your ass, but I believe in you.
Yeah, it's kind of like when your dad's playing a video, like when you're showing your kids like, hey son, this is Mortal Kombat. I used to play this. And the kid's like, hey dad, I beat you. It's like, okay. Let's see this. Whoop his ass. Flawless victory. Fatality. Get that shit out. Brutality. Like disrespect. And then he's crying, telling mom. And it's like, hey, yo, you shut your bitch ass up. All right? You know what I'm saying?
You know you got yourself into. Yeah.
You know what you got yourself into. You know what I'm saying?
It should be scary. Something about the music is like, once you get too big, it's like, yo, you know what you got yourself into.
I talk a lot of shit. I get myself into trouble. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know it's a joke because it's all a joke, but I am the greatest. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. All right, I'll tackle this, and then we have one more like kind of bigger question. Then we do like these kind of like final three that we always do on the show, and obviously we make sure promo stuff like that. So obviously, live is a huge aspect of music, right? I saw that obviously Lagoon, King, you guys did the online concert. Shout out to that.
Yo, looking
amazing.
Yeah. So the two parts I have is, I guess I'll do the more like formal one, and then I'll do the fun one next. So with like hopefully live coming back soon, do you guys have sort of concepts or ideas what you want to do for like live shows in the near future, or still kind of hold out to see what happens?
I'm just trying to be a jukebox to everybody. Like have the music blasting, have people feel the bass. I mean, not even just the bass, but I'm just trying to show what I can do and have everybody see it. I want everybody to vibe. I want everybody to feel connected. I want people to feel like they made friends just having gone to these concerts, you know?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. I definitely have a lot of ideas what I want to do. Where for me, it's mainly that now doing this online really makes me miss the live aspect and the personal connection of having that physical interaction. So something that I used to do, remember I did this a lot at this one venue we performed at Jupiter Hall, was like, you know, we go and you dab up the crowd, whatever. But like every now and then, like give it like a year or whatever, just give people the opportunity to literally make a noise into the mic. Like I'll walk along the crowd, give them a chance to make a noise, whether they say a song lyric or just say like, oh, I love you, mom. Like, you know, literally something random. Like having that opportunity to say, hey, like this isn't just I'm artist, you're a fan. Listen, this is like, yo, like we're all part of this. Yo, I like this music. I like this music. You guys like this music. I'm bumping with the crowd. You know, artists doing stage diving. I've never stage dived, but I wanted to. I've never stage dived. So now, you know, that's something that like I'm ready to do. Like it's like I want that connection back. So
what I've seen a video of this guitarist from a band called Waves. I remember it's a 2-balcony venue, and he's standing at the second floor balcony. And he just does a fucking front flip off of it, or a back flip, I can't remember, off of the balcony, just a stage dive, and the crowd caught him. And I was like, shit.
Bro, imagine being the fan to catch a boot through the face, like, you know what I'm saying?
Imagine being the fan to fucking, you ever seen the video of like, what's it called? Fucking DJ Khaled stage diving?
Yeah, bro.
That is, come on.
I've seen that.
Nigga, they don't catch him.
No, dude, you got fear for your life. But I see him coming, I'm like, oh, no, another one.
No, I would just cut that. DJ Khaled.
No, he's a great
one.
He is great.
Yeah, for live shit, no, there's a lot of really big opportunities coming up. And I think the fans and a lot of people are really going to be excited to see a lot of these big moves being made. I did just do a giveaway. I gave away tickets to some Rolling Loud this year. I gave those away recently. I didn't announce the winner yet because your boy got sick. I'm not going to lie. And I really haven't discussed that with the fans yet, but I got sick. And then I was kind of not in good health conditions to do anything to release it, but I have contacted the winner and I've talked about that stuff. However, besides that, looking to get some established connections with Rolling Loud, looking to get some established connections with, there's actually a new concert up and coming in the Catskills area, and it's called Dear Summerfest. That's actually blowing up. It's coming together. They're getting some artists together. They've shown interest with my company, my brand. And I'm talking to them. I was like, listen, I kind of know some big names over the industry. I was like, I know some names in the industry. And they're like, hey, man, listen, if you got some friends, I was like, hey, I could maybe try to swing with them, but you're going to have to talk with their agencies and, you know, their brands to see if they want to do it. So obviously I'm discussing that matter with them, but that's a festival coming up possibly this summer is what we're hoping to do. There's another one coming up in the 845. They're trying to get a big live 845 type of festival coming up with D2 Worldwide. That's a combination with Too Humble Productions. I know that they're putting that kind of thing together. I haven't been in the talks with them officially yet about that whole situation, but I know they're gaining ground on that. And if they start getting some ground off that, that would be a big one too. So those are 3 big ones. And I got a lot of other surprise ones coming up for sure.
Dude, that's sick. I'm excited for that.
God bless up, man.
And so the other side of the live coin, right? In this like before the vid, after the vid, what's some live moments that you guys like have memory of? Like what's something that's like, yo, that was fucking great from like a show you guys did in the past for each of you?
Okay.
Shit.
Can I go first in this? 'Cause I have
Talk your shit.
this
Talk
is a
your
moment.
shit.
The floor is yours.
So
The floor is yours.
Okay, so I was performing, and this was actually the show that I referenced earlier. It's Jupiter Hall, and it was the day before my mom's birthday, right? So my mom, like any show that she can literally physically get to, like she has gone to, like she will be there. Me and my bro, like we shout her out in the crowd every time. So there was this one song that me and my brother Mark made about our family experiences. It was called wow, I can't. I'm telling you, but I can't remember.
He doesn't know the lyrics for the song, bro. This man just goes. He just goes.
But no. So the song, it was actually called "Can't Change," and we made it about maybe 2.5 years ago, or maybe like 2 years ago, whatever. So like, there was a moment I was really standing up there, like pouring my heart into this microphone. It's actually on my Instagram where I was pouring my heart into my microphone, and then we shouted our mom, like said happy birthday. We see her, like I remember I just shed a tear and I was just looking around. I'm like, oh my gosh, like there is so much love, so much energy just rumbling in the room. The lights were blue. I was just like, oh my gosh. And this is a moment that our family, or specifically me and Mark and my mom, the three of us had together. And we're living the pain of certain negative experiences in such a positive light. It feels life-changing, 110%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. we were so caught up in your story. Like,
just like,
I was like doing it. I was like, fuck, this is a vibe.
Yeah. I remember when I was performing, I was actually performing in my crib. And there was like, we got the parties going, so there was mad people there, and everyone's sitting down there eating their food. And shit, I was nervous as hell because like it was a lot of people. But I mean, I knew all I really got to do is just do my thing, and in the end of the day, it's gonna be what's up. So I remember I was in the middle of one of my songs, and like I had this moment where I'm just doing it, and I forget the lyrics, I didn't forget anything. I'm actually just killing it, really, and I'm just like, shit, I'm not in the crowd, I'm on stage, like doing this, and like people are looking at me, and like I don't look bad or anything. I'm just sitting there, like I felt one with the crowd. I felt like we were all in this together, and I feel like that was a great moment because it was really the first moment that I really felt connected with the crowd. And of course, they weren't jumping to the music, they weren't like vibing because they were an older crowd. They're more to sit back and relax as they're listening. But like I could tell that they were listening, they were looking, they were listening. They weren't just brushing it off. They actually were interested in what I had to say, and it felt rejuvenating. Like people really care, like it doesn't get better. Like you'll never find more love. I hear it like at rock concerts, at live venues. There's never any more love. Like at mosh pits, someone gets injured, they pick them up. That's it. They pick them up and they make sure that they're okay. They put them off to the side to make sure that they don't get hurt in the mosh pit. And that you never find that kind of love in the streets. You never find that kind of love anywhere, even to someone you've been talking to for months. You never find that kind of love.
That's a good fucking point.
Fucking doing music,
man. I'm gonna go the opposite of these guys because they were talking about their big performances and they got a million of those to talk about. And I think the one that I wanted to talk about is the opposite. Like I just said, is I want to talk about like one of my smallest ones, and that's man, back in my high school, back when I went to fucking high school, how many years ago? I actually had a speech class that I did. It was a college credit, but it was a speech class. And for your final speech, you had to come up with something to do. That was one of the first times I really performed was back then. I did a performance for my speech class, and by the end of it, I got done with it. I actually just did the song "Just Dreaming" for the representation of the album. Those were the first people to really hear it. And then the thing that was crazy is when I got done with it, my professor at the time came up to me, and he's like, there's only one other person that's ever performed in this speech class for their speech. And I was like, yeah, who's that? And it was, now I feel like a piece of shit. I don't know her name. She was my cousin's best friend, but she was from We Are the In Crowd. It was the lead singer. I'm so sorry if you're seeing this. I'm so sorry. Monique Monique loves you. She loves you. Like my fam loves you. I can't remember it. But like, bro, she performed there for the first time ever. And everybody booed her and said she did bad, I guess. But she went on to just go be famous, perform at Warped Tour, all kinds of crazy shit. And the professor's like, you're the second one to ever do it. And I was like, watch me be the second one to blow up from your class type shit. And that's the moment that I really knew as an artist that this was for real and that, bro, we really gonna make it.
That's a monumental.
So that was really a big moment. Even though it was such a small moment, it was a big moment. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking love that. That's sick. I love all those
Oh.
stories. So, okay. So let me break it down like this for you. So what we do on the show is kind of ask a couple different questions, but RJ usually does it. I'm going to modify it a bit. If somebody's starting out with music, right, they're going to be a musician. They're like, hey, I'm going to like get into rap or rock or anything. What are like 3 pieces of advice you would give to somebody starting out? Like any 3 pieces of advice, and you guys can each do it.
You think 3 each or 1 each, Soldier?
No, you guys can do 3 each.
All right.
Okay.
First of all, love to. Who was your boy that usually does this?
RJ.
RJ, I love you, bro. Come on, man. I miss you. You know what I'm saying?
No, we'll get you guys on next time, and he'll be here.
For the 3 tips, so I'm gonna name my 3 first. The first one is, I heard this quote: "You are no more. Your music is no more." Has no more value than you are human, or something along those lines. But the thing is, your music can only be as good as you are actually a human being. So the only way to actually grow and make quote unquote better music is to be more and more in touch with yourself, more accurately be able to represent, you know what I mean? Your actual experiences to paint that picture. The next one is be patient with yourself. Patience is literally the key in everything that we do.
Patience is a virtue.
Yeah, patience is really the key, because when you're sitting there, if you're stressing about something you want to record or something you want to write, something you want to create anyway, like that's going to come across. I don't know why, but it always does. There's our bodies in touch with our mind. So the last one is people underestimate the value of actually staying healthy. Like, so before I go to the studio, and like especially big sessions when I know there's a beat that I'm really trying to ride or whatever, I always like to meditate first, and I try to eat. This is a little more recent, as in within the last month, but I literally try to eat salad. I try to eat more vegetables, more like plant-based stuff, and I don't want to drink soda, obviously, for my voice or whatever. But when you actually eat healthy, you feel better. And when you feel better, you're talking about your experiences with a different type of confidence. Yeah. And people are going to hear that back. People are going to relate to that. It's like if you're feeling down, like it's okay to feel down and express feeling down, but you don't want to just feel down and feel bad about yourself. Because then it's like people are listening that they're feeling bad about themselves. That's not, that's really not what this is about. This is like take pride in who you are, what you do.
Yeah, but taking pride in what you do, honestly, for me, step 1, love what you do. Like, if you're making music and you feel like that music is complete dog shit every time you make the music, then you're not loving what you're doing. At that point, you're just doing it for the clout. You're doing it for what reason? Like, if you don't love it, then you shouldn't do it. So you gotta stay true to yourself. You gotta be yourself. And that's step 2. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to say what you need to say. Don't hold back, because the difference between a person and a microphone is that the person's gonna react. The microphone is just going to take whatever you said. And so with that, you have to be able to say what you need to say. You can't just be transparent about it. You can't be black and white about it. You just have to be open and real and, build that up. And honestly, for step 3, well, I always say this, and it's usually for making beats, but it goes for anything really. Making your first beat, that is easy as hell. You can download the program, you can crack the program, you can download a drum loop, you can put the drum loop together and you can add a melody over it. Making your first beat is easy as hell. But maintaining is the hardest part. If you don't do this every day, if you don't do this at least, a few times a week, if you're not doing this, you're never gonna grow. If you give up immediately, you're never gonna grow. If you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you're never gonna grow. Like, you gotta be able to stay true to yourself. You gotta be able to
just
do it. Just do it.
I felt like make your dreams come true.
Our music tech class, and she was telling us like, oh, I'm gonna wait until I'm good. And she just showed us her video of her playing guitar. That shit slapped. And I'm like, why would you wait until you're good? You're already fucking good. Yeah, shout out Jody. Like, you're already fucking good. Like, just do it. If you don't do it, you're never gonna someone told me, it was actually one of King's friends. He told me, yo, if you wait until you're ready, this is in regards to one of the songs that I was gonna do. Like, I was scared to record the vocals. I was gonna wait until I was ready. He said, if you wait until you're ready, you're gonna be waiting your entire life. So make sure when you're doing music, follow that step 3 and just keep doing it. Be persistent, be true to yourself, be yourself, and just keep doing it. You love what you do. That's my 3 steps, really.
I think obviously I don't like to pre-plan none. I like to think about something. So off the top of the dome, I think one of the biggest pieces of advice is that I could say, and you're saying for like new artists and stuff, I think this is probably like, I really think one of the most important. A lot of people, when you're starting out, and this isn't just music, this is art. This is, maybe you want to be a dancer. Maybe you want to make music. Maybe you want to paint. A lot of times people will self-sabotage in the sense of like, say someone's like, hey, yo, let me hear you sing or something. You make a dumb voice and you don't actually try. Yeah. Or like, if you do a dance, instead of doing like your routine, you're just going to do some dumb shit. And it's because people have such a fear of being judged that you don't actually apply yourself. And at the end of the day, that used to be a thing for freestyles. When I got into freestyles and rap games and shit, I was like, no, I can't just be doing this, whatever. And now you can ask me to freestyle at any time and I'm going to go do crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? If I fuck up, hold on. Nah, but like, if you fuck up in a freestyle, it's like, all right, bro, it's a freestyle. Who cares? Yeah. But like, you know what I do care is when I ask you to freestyle and you're the guy in the room, it's like, nah, man, I don't really do that. Yeah, I don't really do that. Like, I don't care if you're bad. I'm not saying you gotta be fucking Eminem in this bitch. You don't gotta be Lil Wayne. But like, at the end of the day, just don't cut yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. I knew there was a girl I used to talk to. She was such a fantastic artist. And she was like she was amazing at like everything she did. But that's just me being sad. She was really good at art though. She could really draw like crazy to the point that I really tried getting her to like do things for like my work, to try to get her to create some things. And whenever I'd want to see her work or something, she wouldn't show it to me or wasn't willing to do it. And it's people selling themselves short. And it's hurtful to see as an artist, to see another artist stifled, because most of my life I was. And then part two, I was going to say is a big part, is if you do want to actually make a living off of art, if you want to start doing something and be successful in your career, it's fine to be a hobby. It's fine to just do something you love. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want success with it, there's so much more into marketing, advertising, and branding than there is about actually doing the art, as much as that sucks. Because, you think you're a rapper, what you do is you make music, but what you do as a rapper? You go do live performances of songs you made a year ago. You go talk to people that you don't know. And I'm not saying any things are bad things, but that's what it is you're actually selling yourself and your work as an artist. It's not necessarily actually about making the work. And that's what it should always stem to, is that you love that. But at the end of the day, you need to accept the reality that if you want a success, you need to understand a marketing, proper branding for the marketing, and like advertising, shit like that. And as far as like the third thing I wanted to say, man, just even if people think you're bad at it, just do your best. Yeah. Because real shit, I gave up on a few passions in my life, and it's because people told me I shouldn't be the one to do this, or I can't do this. And a lot of people are going to say you can't do it. And honestly, you're going to get to a page, you make your first song, you may only get like 50 people that hear it, but that's 50 new people that might change your life. And I remember when the album Just Dreamin' dropped, there was a few songs on there that I personally got, by the end of it, I was like, man, I don't even like these songs anymore. And like, it's crazy. I was thinking that, and I was telling Konye, I was telling Lagoon, I was like, man, should I even release these? They're like, no, dude, these are good. I was like, should I release them? Come on now, tell me the truth. Yeah. And then like, I ended up just doing it because somebody I knew really liked one of the songs. And it's crazy. A few months later, some person I don't even know put on her story, I really love this song. It helped me get through my day at work. And I really appreciate you for what you do. And something that you were like second guessing yourself maybe, or something that you're not so sure about, just do it and be true to you, believe what you do, and then trust the process a little bit, because you never know who you're going to reach and you never know who you're going to help. And that's what music really is for me, is being able to say the things you never got to say and help people that you may never get to meet.
You know what I swear by? It's a quote by Tame Impala, actually. Again, wearing this shirt, yo. Shout out Tame Impala.
Circle.
Yo, yeah. He said, the only one who's really judging you is yourself. And I mean, shit, you're your own harshest critic. You're gonna be second guessing yourself every day, but it really changes you, and it changes like everything when someone sees your art and they post it on their story and they feel like it got them through the day, it got them through their week. Like making those connections. If people feel like we're speaking for them, then shit, we got our job done. Mission accomplished. Pat on the back, boys.
That's all back in Konye. Yeah. That's
crazy.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I love all that advice. It's really solid. I mean, and I feel like I'm underserving what you said by that, but because you guys packed so much in each of your responses. But no, it's true. Like what you were saying, Skins, with like you're your own business, right? And you gotta focus. Like that was a great point. And then just putting yourself out there. And you're right. Like all those, yeah, good shit. I'm clipping this. I love it.
One thing too.
Yeah.
One thing. Notice the consistent thing between everything that we said all comes down to loving what you do. Because with the whole business aspect, what scares people away is like, oh, well, now I'm gonna have to quote unquote do things I don't want. Well, it's like most people, they say they want to be a rapper, they say they want to help all these people, but they're only making music for themselves. Yeah. Someone who actually loves what they do, they say, I want people to hear about this. You would get excited. All of a sudden, you're not quote unquote advertising yourself on social media. You get so excited. You say, hey, everybody, yo, I love this. Yo, look at this. This is what's special about it. This is what I like about it. You know, it's really you. You're expressing yourself through everything you do. Well, if it's really you, but I think it's, you know, it's not. I actually think it's less common for people to fully be themselves in the music just because it's so scary and they self-sabotage. It all ties in. You have to love what you do. If you don't, then why are you even doing it? But that's a whole nother thing.
That's all the only answer. Yeah. Love is the only answer.
And hate, yeah.
A whole lot of hate.
We already covered it, yo. The hate's not gonna get us anywhere, yo.
Yeah, true.
You couldn't have said any better, King.
What was that?
I was saying you couldn't have said any better.
Yeah, for real.
Appreciate it.
So with that, what's we kind of touched on it for Skins a little bit with stuff going on, but for like King and Lagoon, and obviously touch on it too, Skins again. I want to make sure I get everybody. What's kind of next for you guys, project wise, your sound, any sort of things in the hopper?
Okay, I definitely got, as my sound's developing. So this makes me so hyped. So once I took that first, like, I'm gonna call it it was a big step, but I'm gonna call it a baby step when I did People Change and was able to be vulnerable. Now that I'm realizing that that's not only what I want to do, that's really connecting with people. I'm recognizing that my favorite things about certain songs is that I don't just talk about certain situations, I talk about the emotional value behind the situations. So what I started to do with my new music is I'll like, because I'm recording, you know, on the spot, like I'm making it as I go. I'll like, let's say do like a line. Let's say I'm just recording one line. And I'll say that line first. I'll record like 10 takes of it. Then I'll be like, you know what? No, I can go deeper. And I'll be like, let's say I walked to, I'm gonna say the Olive Garden because I like the Olive Garden. I walked to the Olive Garden, but no, I'll then listen back to that line and I'm gonna change it and say, you know what? How did I feel during that walk? And then I'm gonna say how I felt. Then I'm gonna say why I felt that way, or at least why I feel or think that I felt that way. Because what happens is people will listen to your music. Yeah, they can relate to scenarios. We're human beings. We all relate to certain things. We go through similar things. But there's an emotional value behind the reason that we feel what we feel. And that's what people can actually relate to. Like I should be able to tell someone how I feel about a song that I just wrote. And it should be able to spark something in their heart that represents how they feel about something they either just created, even how they felt about the last meal that they made. You know, everything should be connected in that sense. So I'm trying to just, you know, talk about that deeper value in my newer music.
Love it. That's so good.
When it comes to music, honestly, I'm trying to take some fuzzy, washed out guitars, pair them with some wobbly, you know, otherworldly synthesizers, get some crazy sounding drums, and use all of that to just convey a message. And this message, well, basically, like, you ever feel like you don't fit in, but at the same time, you try so hard to fit in that you don't even know who you are?
Yeah, 100 fucking.
So my album is essentially about, yeah, like you pretend to be somebody.
What's up?
You try to be somebody, and it turns out like you got yourself into this deep situation where you don't even know who you are anymore. You're a completely different person. Like my album is basically talking about the struggle to find an identity for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate as well. Finding an identity for myself while also fitting into society. And I know if I could be my own person while also fitting in with two other dudes with completely different backgrounds, completely different vibes, completely different music, completely different mindsets, like, then that means that, well, it isn't as hard as I think. And of course, there was a struggle for me to get to realize this. And I'm actually realizing it now that it wasn't as hard as I thought. But with that struggle comes, you know, those pent up emotions. And with those pent up emotions comes some fucking tasty ass music.
Some tasty licks too.
Some tasty licks.
You know that?
The image of how you talk about yourself.
I was gonna say, I talked a little bit about the direction a little bit earlier, but something that actually as we said, bro, right now we're recording off the cameraman right now, but it's like, bro, we're in a studio. We're kind of in a, you know what I'm saying? We're all together right now because we're in the studio as we speak. Yeah. You caught us when I literally I take the headphones off. I'm like, all right, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we literally, I'm working on my next project right now, which there's a release date coming up soon. I'll say that I'm looking to do a release this year. This is the first time I'm announcing it, so that's a big deal. I'm sure the fans are gonna love to hear that. But I'm looking to do a release this year. There's gonna be some singles coming up, some very soon. Probably the one from today. I don't know. But like, yeah, I got that new project coming up, and a lot of that it's gonna be a whole new reality, which is more personal. And I think a lot with Just Dreaming was me touching on a broad audience, and it's just to showcase I could do this kind of music. I could do it like this. I could write like this. And now with this new one, I'm gonna talk about something that's personal to me and be more condensed and solid about something. And it's also going to expand more into my branding. You're going to see that represent a lot throughout the company, through the industry, the merchandise that's going to be available soon with the new release. There's actually going to be a whole lot of new branding and marketing that are coming to play from this album. And it's going to be a lot of cool stuff with that. Like I said, we got some of those shows we're coming up. I'm going to try to keep all the fans up to date on that. I'm going to look to do some more giveaways, things of that sort. One of my biggest things is I like giving back to my fans and supporting them as much as they support me, because my dream is to go be big and then come back and make everybody else that made me big. You know what I'm saying? I want to give back to shit. That's something I don't think enough people do. And I just want to see as many people achieve their dreams as possible. So, yeah.
Dude, that's dope. And I feel honored that you did a little tease on the streaming cassettes here. So thank you. So this has been amazing. How can people find you guys? Obviously through obviously Spotify and stuff, but what's the best way to get in touch with you guys and learn more about you as rappers and artists and just your brands? You know, we were talking about so much. How can people get to learn more about you?
For me, Twitter, Instagram, specifically Instagram. King Konye, King.Konye.
Love Lagoon, the Love Lagoon. Yeah. Find me. Honestly, I kind of want to make the music speak for myself. You know, my father always taught me to not say too much, but to mean what you say. You know, like what was the president that said you walk with a big stick, but Teddy, some shit about the big stick. Yeah.
Teddy,
it's like when you walk through the woods, carry a big stick. It's like something like that.
Yeah, some shit like that. Like, yeah, as long as you get to me, I want the music to speak for itself. But if you want to hit me up at the Love Lagoon on Instagram, I
was gonna say, you could contact me. The easiest way will probably be through my Insta, which is at this kid Skinz. There's gonna be a lot of rebranding and marketing. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going through the agency and stuff. I usually try to get to every message. Sometimes I'm a little late, but that's because everybody's got some stuff going on in their mental sometimes, and sometimes I'm just busy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm just busy, but I do try to contact everybody that reaches out to me. I try to make it known that I'm trying to listen to your concerns, hear what you have to say, and anybody that wants to reach out to me, has any interest in bookings, things like that sort, I will get to you eventually. I guarantee I'll get to you eventually. You just got to give me a little faith and time. A little patience is a virtue. You know what I'm saying? But that's probably the best way to do it. You can see some of my stuff always on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify. That's where you can see all those things. But that's probably the best way to reach out to me and get in contact. The brand has its own Insta page, which is slowly developing, which is known as Skinz Inc. You could see that tagged in some of our pictures. And yeah, you could actually talk to some of our other artists and stuff if you ever want to get to know me as the individual, the artist. You can look at the website too. So I'm very open to any sort of outside interpretation.
I know Instagram can be very you see an artist, you try to comment under their page and they just don't comment back, like they think they're big compared to you.
We don't do that.
So yeah, first of all, we
got nothing but love.
And if you do feel that way, if anybody feels that way, like Instagram is kind of like, what's the word? Like it scares you off.
Yeah.
Hit me up on YouTube, yo. I'm the Love Lagoon on YouTube. I was a YouTuber from back when I was a kid. I was uploading YouTube videos, so that's the real, the raw, the personal. Like what I'm doing is it's I hardly did the too much editing, but like I don't want to edit and make it sound fake. So if you really want to get to know us, besides the music, hit me on YouTube.
Also, one more thing I wanted to touch on with that, if a way I've been trying to interacting with a lot of fans and stuff is I'm actually a big gamer. So I do a lot of streaming on Twitch. Fun fact. So if you want to get to know like me on a personal level, like my everyday day-to-day type shit, you can check me out on that. And the name for that would be Lyrical BPM, as in lyrical beats per minute. That's just its own shameless plug. That's just if you wanted to get to know me and casually talk throughout the day, as I'm whooping people's asses in some Mortal Kombat or doing some shit, I'll come talk to you where I can, because that's a good way for me to reach out to fans. And I've met a lot of people that way that are very supportive, and I love them too.
If he's busy as fuck and he's not catching you on Instagram, catch him on the stream.
Yeah, you can probably catch me there.
Catch him on the live stream, right? The Twitch.
Yeah, it's just some gaming I do casually. But like I said, it's a good way to reach the fans that they could see me on a day-to-day basis and actually get an understanding of who I am as a person instead of looking at one picture and saying, what is he about?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, yeah, this is great. And I will obviously put all these social links for you guys in our description of the show for podcast and YouTube. So nice and easy, but we always like to make sure we get the shout outs from.
Yeah, a little shameless plug.
Yeah, perfect. You guys still there?
Yeah. It's just that we got low battery, so it's good that we're wrapping it up.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, and obviously stay on with posts. I'll talk to you guys off air, but thank you so much for coming on today. This has been like an awesome interview.
Thank you so much for having us, man. And listen, you got that. Do that.
I was gonna say, after you say what you're gonna say, we're gonna show them the studio in the back.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing I was gonna say, hey, yo, J. Cole, you seeing this, son? I'm coming to Dreamville. I'm coming to the Villa. Yeah, I'm coming.
Got drafts next week for the NFL. You got to draft him for Dreamville.
Yeah, draft me. Yo, I was the running back. I'll tell you that.
He's also the greatest. Yo, just mad love from the whole studio. You know what I'm saying?
Gang.
You don't know what it is, bro.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we got
an engineer. We got
engineer.
Hell yeah.
What up?
Yeah.
This has been a blast. Thank you guys so much. Stay on post to chat with me, but this is Streaming Cassettes. You know where to find us. Go on Wingme and I can't even talk. Goddamn. Wingmeandhere.com. You get your blogs, your shows, your merch. I'll get you guys some fucking shirts. How's that sound?
Yes, sir. Yo, and I'll go rep that and promote that. You know how we do. It's all love here.
Oh, exactly. Love all day. But as always, thank you for watching. Subscribe. You know all this shit. it's your boy Max signing out with King Konye, Skinz, and Love Lagoon. All right, guys.